And welcome to a little bit of night racing on a Saturday night for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Nashville Superspeedway for this weekend's running of the Tennessee Lottery 250. And in this evening's race, we have a Cup Series regular in the field, Ross Chastain, trying to keep his momentum going in the right direction. Had a good qualifying effort moments ago during qualifying for the NASCAR Cup race, which will be taking place tomorrow. And he's coming in off a win in the Coca-Cola 600, trying to get a win on the Xfinity Series side of things here today. A returning Eric Almirola, who has one win in just his 4 races so far in the Xfinity Series this season, looking for win number 2. Justin Allgaier, Series points leader, has quite the cushion over Austin Hill and everybody else behind him in the standings, looking to add on to that and looking for redemption following a late-breaking loss at Charlotte Motor Speedway a week ago when pit strategy went awry, staying out of the pits on a late race caution. And then multiple late race cautions led into an overtime restart where he eventually ended up losing the lead. Corey Day, coming off his first career Truck Series top 5 run last night, will be running his second Xfinity Series race of the season. He'll be in the 17 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet, that same car that was won last week by William Byron from the Cup Series, who ran the Xfinity race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. William Sawalich looking to get back on the right going as he will be on the pole for today's race, still outside the top 20 in the Xfinity Series points coming into this evening's event. This is the 14th race of the NASCAR Xfinity Series season, and you'll be able to listen to all of the live flag-to-flag commentary throughout the course of this race here today, just like the truck race last night, and just like the NASCAR Cup Series race, which will be still to come for tomorrow night. All 3 races this weekend with Truck, Xfinity, and Cup action all under the lights. The course of the weekend are at night, but here this year at Nashville, that will be the case. We'll go through the rest of the starting lineup for today's starting grid for the Tennessee Lottery 250. William Sawalich on the pole for this one. Again, in need of a good run following a very poor season up to this point for his rookie campaign at the Xfinity Series level. Austin Hill, who has 3 wins this year, most in the series, will be outside of row number 1 alongside Sawalich. In row number 2 will be Sam Mayer with Justin Allgaier, his former teammate. In row number 3, Sheldon Creed and Carson Kvapil. Row 4 for Nick Sanchez, the rookie, and Eric Almirola, part-time driver in the Xfinity Series. Row number 5 will be the lone Cup regular in the field today, Ross Chastain, and rookie Connor Zilisch. Ryan Sieg with Christian Eckes will make up row number 6. Row 7 for Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith, who each have 1 win on the season. Jesse Love with Jeb Burton in row number 8. Burton off a great performance at Charlotte a week ago. Harrison Burton, who also had a good run on the inside of row number 9 for the start of this one, alongside Jeremy Clements. Behind them in row number 10 will be Daniel Dye and Dean Thompson. Row 11 for Corey Day and Matt DiBenedetto, second Xfinity start of the year for Day. Anthony Alfredo Taylor Gray will make up row number 12. Row 13 for Ryan Ellis and Josh Williams. Row 14, Blaine Perkins with Kyle Sieg. Parker Retzlaff and Thomas Annunziata, row 15. Brennan Poole, Mason Maggio, row 16. Row 17 for Nick Lights and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Chris Wright, Myatt Snyder, row 18. And rounding out the field in row 19 will be Logan Bearden and Mason Massey. So that's our full 38-car starting lineup for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Nashville under the lights. Bond 1771, Jerry Marty, Rebel Soul, Tim Fowler, Billy Kramer, and others. Welcome into the stream. You guys are the first in the chat below. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal for tonight will be 100, as we were just shy of 100 during the truck race last night. This race being a little bit longer. I am going to lean towards the side that we will get there. We did get to our like goal during the practice qualifying stream that wrapped up about an hour ago for the Cup side as well. For more, late aired for now through 2031. So for visual purposes, that's where you can tune in your local CW network. As far as the call for today, Adam Alexander in the booth. We'll hear him for the prime broadcasts on the NASCAR Cup side for the next several weeks as well. And on the color commentators side of things, we've got Austin Cindric and I believe Parker Kligerman is in the booth with Austin Cindric today. I do know they have a rotating booth with active Cup Series drivers for about the next 8 weeks through the summer months of the CW Xfinity Series races, but I believe Cindric is on the call today.
William Sawalich, let's talk to him. Hey, William, it's Austin Cindric in the CW booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, man, what you got?
Hey, nice lap. That's got to feel good, man. What do you think about tonight's race and what's it going to take to win?
Yeah, I think we got a air sucks. It's going to be everything. So all that's going to be crucial. All going to be about that with take.
Good deal. Have fun, man. Keep it in the wind.
Thank you.
Keep it in the wind. I like that. Wind, a little bit of factor earlier today on track, and we'll see if that plays a role here tonight. You mentioned qualifying earlier today, so while it's on the pool, another rookie that's been impressive, Nick Sanchez.
Yeah, I think Nick Sanchez has been really exciting to watch in every single one of these races, and I think they're continuing to gain speed with that team.
He has been. He's been really awesome finishing races as well. Also, Jesse Love started 15th. He finished third here last year after starting last. He does a big service for himself. He started 15th. Keep an eye on him.
I want to jump back to 25th tonight. Ryan Ellis coming off his first ever top 10 finish. A lot to celebrate there for he and that team. Congratulations. Hopefully something good tonight.
And a driver making his second start of the season. Jeffrey Earnhardt started 34th to his 7th year back in 2022. He's had his work cut out for him to make that happen again.
Eric Almirola back with us racing this weekend behind the wheel of a 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
All right, let's have some fun, man. So glad to be back in y'all's race car. Let's
Got the checkered flag earlier this season at Phoenix. That was a run of top 3 finishes for Eric and this 19 team. Not exactly where they want to be lately, but Joe Gibbs Racing historically good at Nashville Super Speedway. And since we started coming back here in 2021, they've won 2 of the 4 races.
They're always fast at these types of tracks where you need grip, Austin. It just seems like you want to be in a Joe Gibbs Racing car. They just achieve grip better than other race cars in some fashion or somehow. I don't know how they do it, but they really do. This is going to be interesting to watch. William Sawalich down to turn 1. What does he do?
Well, I think he's picked the right lane. You know, I think new tires on the bottom. It's an easy call. It's a shorter distance all the way to the run up to turn 1. So I think that's going to be interesting. You know, as you get into used tire restarts, as you have a lot of the time here in this series. So I think I'll be watching that lane choice all race and watching the choose as well.
This place looks great. Beautiful Saturday night. Aerial coverage provided by the Lucas Oil Helicopter. The classic rookie veteran matchup on the front row. Sawalich inside of Austin Hill. A driver for his first sprinter victory next to a driver that's won here 3 times in 2025.
Green flag in the air. Sawalich will lead us, and we're underway in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Nashville. Sawalich with a quick lead off into turn 1 as he tried to pull high and clear the veteran Austin Hill to the outside and was able to do so successfully. Hill will run door to door with Sam Mayer off the exit of turn 2 as Sawalich leads down the backstretch. Headed for turn 3, Mayer on the inside lane was not able to get off turn 2 very well. Austin Hill clears him, and Justin Allgaier will also get by him for 3rd. Mayer will settle in 4th, while Austin Hill will charge on for the race lead. Off the exit of turn 4, our pole sitter, Sawalich, will lead lap 1. Top 5 single file and entry into turn number 1 on the 2nd lap, but 3 wide for 6th place between Eric Almirola, Sheldon Creed, and Nick Sanchez. Austin Hill still all over the back bumper of our race leader off turn 4 to complete the 2nd lap as they go through the bump on the exit of the corner. Sawalich gets a little bit better corner exit speed. Shouldn't see a ton of tire fall off this weekend at Nashville. We didn't in the truck race yesterday for the most part. Track position was the name of the game. Rajah Caruth was able to get the race lead after the fast pit stop to begin that final stage during the Stage 2 caution. Because of how short the final stage was, they didn't have to pit for fuel at all. And Caruth was able to hold on, not make enough of a mistake that allowed for Corey Heim and Lane Riggs to catch up and or get by him. And Caruth was able to get the win. Cup Series practice on our stream earlier today, we didn't see a lot of tire fall off there either. About 0.3 of a second, if that, of fall off throughout the course of a 30 to 40 lap run. So I would expect there to maybe be a potential for 2 tire strategy calls as we get later into the race. Maybe more so tomorrow than today. It does seem in the Xfinity Series with the lower downforce package that they use in these cars, even when they go to racetracks that are relatively higher grip like Nashville, they still tend to have more fall off than what we see from the truck in the Cup Series races on the same weekends. Mark Witkowski, welcome into the stream as well. Yeah, Ryan Sieg, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed for your podium picks. That's a bold prediction. Tim Brown, welcome into the stream as well. JoJo, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the bots taking care of things in the chat, by the way, as well. JoJo, also thanks for tuning in. Sid Vic, Lincoln Kim Hollingsworth, welcome to the stream. Justin Allgaier set the early fastest lap of the race. Not sure exactly what lap that was on. Best speed on that lap was 154.631 mile per hour on the average. Sawalch has led the first 7 laps of the race from the pole. Austin Hill is putting a lot of pressure on him those opening few laps, but now he has slipped away a bit. Sawalch, that is, over the 21. Hill starting to hold up the 3rd and 4th place cars in his rearview mirror now of Allgaier and Mayer. Top 4 all still within 1 second of the race lead. Allgaier with a wider corner entry cuts to the bottom in the center of the corner. Almost slips to the left rear corner panel on the inside of Austin Hill down the back straightaway, but he'll have to try to fight him on for another corner. And he's not able to pull up alongside of him again in 3 and 4 either. Jesse Love making a 3-wide pass for position on 2 Xfinity Series rookies, those being Christian Eckes and Connor Zilich. Through turns 3 and 4, that moves Jesse Love up a couple more spots. That battle's going on just outside the top 10. Battle for 11th between the trio. T-Van, welcome into the stream also. Try to give you guys all the shout-outs I can if I see you in the chat for the first time throughout the course of these streams. If I did miss you in the pre-race or just in the early laps of the actual race, apologize for that. We get enough people in the chat, it's kind of hard to follow sometimes. That, and it's tough to track during green flag conditions. I'll try to catch up on cautions and commercial breaks as much as I can. So Allgaier was putting a lot of pressure on Austin Hill, and after not being able to make a pass for second, he's in danger now of losing 3rd to Sam Mayer. Mayer working the yellow line on the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. He moved up off of it a little early in the center of the corner, forcing to have to lift after Allgaier held him tight to the inside. And Allgaier again playing a little bit of defense there, but holds on to 3rd. Showing the lap before that, Allgaier tried the outside lane, about a lane off of the 21 car, gets him clean out of the nose and tried to pass him that way, and he charged too hard on corner entry, slipped the rear tires, and that's why Sam Mayer was able to get underneath him and almost make that pass for 3rd. But after Mayer's failed pass attempt, Allgaier is now starting to put more pressure on Austin Hill again, while meanwhile, William Sawalich, our leader, has opened up his gap over 2nd place by about 1 second. So the difference between P1 and P2, again, about 1 second between William Sawalich, the leader, 2nd place Austin Hill. Justin Allgaier's 1.1 seconds off the lead in 3rd, 1.7 seconds back for Sam Mayer in 4th, and Carson Kvapil is 2.8 seconds off the lead in 5th. So that rounds out the top 5 here in the early laps. 45 laps in Stage 1 and Stage 2 today. And Stage 3 will be made up of the remaining laps to the finish of the race, which would be a total of 98. Making up our 188 lap scheduled distance event around this 1.33 mile oval. 24 degrees of banking on both ends of the track, turns 1 and 2, slightly progressive. We'll see the groove widen out throughout the course of the race as the rubber gets laid down onto the racetrack with the warmer temperatures in the summer months on this concrete surface. This track should have no problem taking rubber, and as the race moves on, the outside lane will become more and more usable throughout the course of the event. Austin Hill already trying to work a little bit of that upper groove right now, while he still slightly runs in front of Allgaier. Allgaier trying to run the bottom of the track through 1 and 2 to get underneath him. And again, could not slip to the inside on corner exit. Allgaier's getting him in the first half of the corner, but because he's driving it in so deep, Austin Hill's able to get back to the gas sooner. Therefore, he's able to get to his straightaway speed a little bit quicker. And by the midway point of the back straightaway, Allgaier can't hang on the inside or that left rear corner panel to try to make the dive into the next corner. Allgaier going to need a slightly better setup move if he's going to want to make this pass. Side-by-side commercial break currently airing on the CW, while the battle for second between Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier continues on the left side of the screen. Allgaier to the outside of Hill again through 1 and 2. This time he doesn't slip the rear tires. Gets a good run on corner exit. Beats Hill to the outside. And down the back straightaway, he's going to carry the momentum and more than likely make the pass through 3 and 4. Hill doing everything he can on the inside, but as he goes through the bump, he can't pick the gas up as soon as the car drove to the outside of the bumps of Justin Allgaier. Allgaier's clear for second by about 3 car lengths at the start-finish line. So now that Allgaier's up to second, we'll see what he can do in trying to run down our leader, Sawalich. While meanwhile, Austin Hill tries to hold on for third now in front of Sam Mayer. John Barber, welcome to the stream. Law of averages is in Creed's favor for his first win. I don't know what the law of averages incline. Is it that he's finished second so many times, so he's bound to break through eventually? Is that what you're getting at? And we'll say he hasn't finished second as much with this Haas team in the 00. I don't think the equipment's quite there compared to what the RCR Xfinity Series program has been for the last couple of years that Sheldon Creed has been driving for, but we shall see. He does have a couple of second place finishes this year, although one of them was a super speedway at the beginning of the year at Daytona. Another one was a Caution Fest race. What was it? Martinsville, I think. They finished second in that one also. Eric Almirola, Ross Chastain battling for fifth. Chastain's got the spot for now. Has had it for a minute. This is the second start this season that Ross Chastain has had for Junior Motorsports in the number 9. And in his last start, he had a top 3 run. This is a track he's won on at the Cup Series level, so that's why I went with Chastain to win this Xfinity Series race today. He's the second highest running Junior Motorsports Chevy behind Allgaier in second. The other JRM Chevys, Carson Kvapil, was in 5th. He's dropped to 7th now. Connor Zilic is 13th. Sammy Smith is 15th of the 5. And 9-car being driven part-time by a few drivers this season, and obviously one of which today, Ross Chastain, who again is the only Cup regular in this field. Steve Emogene Blevins, welcome to the stream. Our usual raw feed has been down for the weekend. The truck race last night, the Xfinity Series race today. For some reason, I go to raw feed on NASCAR.com, and there's just nothing. It's a blank screen. So the race leaderboard that is live, I can't scroll left or right, so I don't have as much statistical analysis to be able to break down throughout the course of these race broadcasts. All I have really is the last lap that they ran, laps led, and the average speed of their best lap. How many positions that they have gained. I would assume that is from the start of the race. Usually we can check on each restart, but we don't have that ability. And then the last pit stop lap time. Or not lap time, but the last pit stop time itself. We can't check when they've last been to pit road and fastest lap of the day. Can't find any of that kind of analysis. Luckily on the CW broadcast, they do have at the bottom of the screen on the leaderboard the time ticker to state who has the fastest lap of the race overall, which a bonus point is awarded for that fastest time. On a race-by-race deal, 1 point is the bonus. Henry Yester, welcome to the stream. Usually watch CeeLo, but he's slacking tonight. Think we're going to watch you from that. Well, I appreciate you tuning in and appreciate the feedback on that. I do the best I can on the commentary side of things. I was wondering if CeeLo was streaming tonight because I don't think I noticed that he was streaming yesterday. Obviously, I can't watch his NASCAR stuff when, I'm streaming because I've got a job to do here too. But well wishes to him. 0.8 of a second lead right now for Sawalich over Allgaier. The last lap Allgaier ran was a 31.749. That was about 6 to 7 hundredths of a second quicker than our leader Sawalich. Sawalich's last lap was a 31.817. The lead is down to, again, 0.8 of a second. Now 0.7 as they cross the start-finish line this time by. So Allgaier is growing quicker to the back bumper of the 18. Allgaier also has the Xfinity fastest lap at Smith drops back to 16th, Day to 15th. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream that Corey Day had his first career top 5 in the Truck Series last night at Nashville. Started up towards the front and ran there the whole race. Clean race, by far his best stock car race of his career across the 2 series he has ran, and early if you want to include ARCA into that as well. Not only he was able to complete all the laps, but he was able to run again inside the top 5 the whole day. Didn't have anything for the top 3, who I thought were the quickest 3 at the end of the night, Caruth, Heim, and Riggs, but 4th, 5th place he was the whole night. Did a great job. He didn't make any mistakes, and obviously didn't crash out of it like he's done on numerous occasions in his Xfinity and truck start. So hoping for more of the same here today. A lot more competitive cars in the Xfinity series than what we see in the trucks on a week-to-week basis, so it may be more difficult for him, but I should like to think that he can be competitive enough for at least the top 10. And again, he's moving forward in the early laps, 6 positions gained on a track that doesn't have a lot of tire wear. So to gain that many spots really in the first 28 laps, that's pretty solid. He can get 5 to 6, on the next run. He'll be right there in the top 10 by stage 2. No cautions to record so far in the first 28 laps as well. CeeLo's at the track. There we go. I kind of wondered. I know he's from Tennessee. I don't know what part of Tennessee he's from, though. I know he goes to Bristol regularly. Or at least annually. I don't know what you guys are going to do for that weekend later this year. He's probably going to be there, and I'm going to be there. I don't think you guys are going to have anybody to stream off of. Delbert Wilson, welcome to the stream. Sam Mayer, question mark. Mayer's in 4th. More chatty, more XP you earn. Oh, is that for the community thing? Yeah, I have no clue how that works. I didn't see that there until last night's stream for the first time. I don't remember going into my settings and changing anything on the channel, the YouTube Studio app, so no clue exactly why that's the case. So Allgaier was starting to creep in on Sawalich there for a bit. I mentioned that his lead had dropped down to about 0.7 of a second. And as they've gotten into the back portion of lap traffic, Sawalich is seemingly doing pretty good there. 15 laps to go in stage 1, and the lead's right back out to about 1.5 seconds, 1.4 that last time by at the line. So Sawalich, after running about 6 to 700ths of a second slower lap than Allgaier. Now, Allgaier struggled in traffic just a little bit more, and that would make sense because he had a hard time trying to pass Austin Hill for second. It took him about a dozen laps to make that pass. He didn't lose a lot of time to Sawalich in the process of it, but he hasn't really ran down the 18 quite like I thought he might have. And with the lack of tire wear, Sawalich is doing what he needs to do out in front of the field. He's got a fast enough car underneath him in that Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Toyotas have been pretty quick so far this weekend. Corey Heim obviously quick most weekends in the Truck Series, but obviously Sawalich today. And if you look at the Cup Series side of things, I think you're going to have to look at Toyota and particularly competing for the win tomorrow. I really like Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin to be the favorites for that race. Chase Briscoe showed a lot of speed, top 5 in practice, qualified on the pole. Bubba Wallace was really good in qualifying as well, and he ended up having a 7th place finish last year at Nashville, so it's a good track for him. I believe he'll be starting in row 3. So, yeah, a lot of Toyotas up at the front of the field. And here today, maybe that could be the case for Toyota to get to victory lane. Albeit with Corey Heim being as good as he was and on most weekends. Again, last night for the truck race, he was not able to get the win, and it was a Chevy of Raja Caruth. So, with 2 Chevys running in line behind Sawalich, 3 of them in the top 5 with Allgaier, Hill, and Chastain, we shall see if they can catch up. Tough without the raw feed. Yeah, the raw feed has been down. And I don't know why that is. I logged out of NASCAR.com several times yesterday. I will say the race leaderboard, it's not that different. As far as your viewing on the screen, it's not different. For my ability to give you guys the in-depth commentary I do on these live commentary streams, I can't go through as many stats as the race goes on. And luckily enough, at least for the Cup side, I take a lot of stats for each individual driver, so I can kind of jot those throughout the race, but I'm kind of lost on the Xfinity series when it comes to that. I can kind of memorize about what's happened this season, and that's about it. As far as analysis at the racetrack, for each specific driver, not as well equipped with the Xfinity and Truck Series. Even though I watch on a year-to-year basis, it's just I don't take the stats before the streams to get that going. It takes a long time for me to get what I need to get for the Cup Series between practice and qualifying. I mean, I probably spend a good 2 to 3 hours on practice qualifying on a Sunday morning before the Cup race, same thing. Sam Mayer has caught up to Austin Hill in a battle for third. Hill's obviously lost touch of Justin Allgaier, and Allgaier still about a second and a half off our race lead from Sawalich. Mayer to the bottom of the track, Austin Hill to the wider line. Hill's getting way wide, by the way. Those right side tires look to be just above that black mark, which is where all the rubber's been being laid down through 1 and 2 the last time by. He's got to be careful not to get too high and up into the marbles. Can be easy to lose control. There's not a lot of grip above where the rubber has been laid down. And until more cars start to try to run up there and continue to rubber up the racing line. Well, you can definitely tell that the line has moved up quite a bit from where it was even in the opening laps of this race. Trouble! Oh, couple cars around turn 4. The 4 of Parker Retzlaff is involved. Quite a bit of damage to the back of his race car. Kyle Sieg in the 28 is also turned around. Damage all along the left side of Retzlaff's Chevrolet as well, and Sieg with a bit of nose damage.
That's a shame for Parker Retzlaff and his 14. Seems like they have the high.
It absolutely is one end or the other with them.
There's no in between.
And sometimes it's a crash, sometimes it's a mechanical.
Yep.
But when they keep everything between the lines, they are players. Here's what happened.
Kyle Sieg's on the inside here. Is he going to get loose? Yep. That's Nashville.
Yeah, it's just classic racing these cars, right? I mean, they're both close to each other's doors and old tires right at the end of the stint. Yeah, right. Especially for Parker there and getting his car torn up. Doesn't look like it got too much damage at all. That what I can tell you what this is going to do. It's going to make an interesting decision depending on how long this caution lasts for what you do for the stage.
Right. Yeah, if you want to maybe flip the stage here and come down pit road and not take the stage points for some of these teams, they might decide to do that. Get the track position after the stage caution. It is interesting that whenever it's the car that causes the wreck, like Kyle Sieg, he didn't get any damage. Poor Parker Retzlaff destroyed there on the outside wall.
Here's 28 radio.
And that's a defense mechanism for Parker Retzlaff. When someone gets the inside of you, you kind of get real close to the right side. That takes the air off the right side, and you take that risk doing that. Of hopefully they hold on to it, but they get loose enough they can't put the throttle down. That gives you the momentum on the exit of the corner. What Kyle's upset about is thinking that maybe that was too aggressive this early in the race to get right on your door like that.
What makes this type of racing so challenging? It is social, in my opinion. Like your interpretation of what right and wrong is. You know, you got a car tied on your outside. He's trying to defend his position. Okay, you're the one that initiated the pass, and you got loose.
Yep.
But you know the other car has some responsibility there too.
Yeah.
That's something I think those two would want to talk about another day. Like, hey, you know, we get in this situation again. Was that worth it? You know,
Yep.
was that situation worth it where we were running, and could we both have done better?
Two sides of the story.
But pit road is open, and there's probably going to be two sides to this story as well. We get through here and flip the stage. Do you stay out and get stage points? A whole bunch of them up front say, we're going to make a pit stop. Progressive pit road is open, Kim.
Including Ross Chastain there at the top of the 9-car. Crew chief Corey Shea told me this was in their playbook. Flip the stages. Points don't matter for them. Plus tire fall. Not huge here. Ross is complaining very tight. They will free him up. It looks a little slow there on the right side as you go. Williams Sawalich, second from the top. Points don't really matter for them because they're buried so deep. They're just going for the win here. He said he was searching for a little more in turns 1 and 2, Dylan.
Austin Hill, third from the bottom there, said he was building tight across the middle of the corner. They're making chassis adjustment. Chassis adjustment is all for the 7 of Justin Allgaier, who said he was too tight at the max compression point in the center of the corner. So some detailed feedback there on the 7.
Progressive race off pit road. Austin Hill +2. Sawalich, Allgaier each lose 1. Great stop for Creed. A few drivers stayed out. Daniel Dye, Brandon Jones, and Jeb Burton. among them. We'll reset the running order when we come back. Short run in stage one when we come back after the break.
Yeah, we're going to have about 5 laps or less remaining in this opening stage. We'll see if anybody stayed out of the pits trying to hold on and maybe get some stage points to the end of stage one, considering the fact that there isn't a lot of tire fall off. And again, we will only have a few laps to go. Probably going to need some buffer car 6 stayed out. If the top 6 stayed out of the pits, that would include Daniel Dye, Brandon Jones, Jeremy Clements, Jeb Burton, Matt DiBenedetto, and Myatt Snyder. Hill will be in 7th. And then William Sawalch, who was the leader, lost 1 spot in the pits. He'll be 8th now. The second best on 4 fresh Goodyears. So top 6 for the restart again that stayed out. Daniel Dye, Brandon Jones, Jeremy Clements, Jeb Burt, Matt DiBenedetto, Myatt Snyder. The next 6 on the restart will be Austin Hill, William Sawalch, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, and Nick Sanchez. 45 laps in the opening 2 stages today each. Most intermediate tracks on the Xfinity Series side are that way. Even today, with it being 188 laps in length compared to the original or usual 200 laps. Used to seeing 300-mile races on 1.5-mile tracks at the Xfinity Series, but today only 250. So one of the shorter Xfinity races of the season. And so the first laps led not by William Sawalch today, with Daniel Dye leading under the caution, staying out of the pits. We'll see if any of these drivers that stayed out on the old tires can hold on to win this opening stage. A couple of these drivers are in a situation of trying to get as many points as they can to try to help their way into the playoffs on points. Maybe take down some of these bigger teams like a Jeb Burton, who's had a great season so far for Jordan Anderson Racing. Burton comes into the points right now 9th. He was actually 7th before last week, lost a couple spots at Charlotte, but 9th in points for Jeb Burton. Stellar season so far. The best we've seen from Jordan Anderson Racing. He scored a lot of stage points this year, and he's looking at least to score more, as he'll be 4th on the restart. Jeremy Clements lost part of his right hand when a drive shaft came through the floor and clipped him. Oh, A-model stocks. When did that happen? I've never heard of that story.
Stayed out. Daniel Dye, Brandon Jones, Jeremy Clements, Jeff Burton, Matt DiBenedetto, and Myatt Snyder running anywhere from 13th to 30th, but obviously all on the lead lap. Nick Light's got the free pass. So we got 33 cars on the lead lap, and those first 2 off the pit lane, Hill, Sawalch, Allgaier's up there. They're going to be row 4 on back for the restart. Front row, Dye and Jones. Here they come, ending stage 1 into the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. Echo Park Automotive.
Green flag in the air. 4 laps to go in stage 1 for the restart. Daniel Dye on the inside of row 1. Brandon Jones on the outside. And everybody on fresh tires lined up behind him looking to get forward in the right direction. Dye slips up the racetrack, takes the line away of Brandon Jones. And Jeremy Clements is going to come out with the lead off turn 2. Clements restarted on the inside of row 2 in the 3rd spot. And up to 2nd is Jeb Burton, I believe. Matt DiBenedetto right behind him in the 99 for Viking Motorsports. Another car up way wide on the exit of turn 4 in the marbles. That's Ross Chastain in the number 9. And that Junior Motorsports Chevy's going backwards. While Jeremy Clements in the 51 led that last time by. Justin Allgaier to 2nd through 1 and 2. Slips to the outside of our leader down the back straightaway. And Justin Allgaier on the 4 fresh tires should get out with the lead off turn 4. All clear of Clements. First time Allgaier's been able to lead today. 2 laps to go in stage 1 this time by. Austin Hill, the next closest on 4 fresh Goodyears to the front of the field behind our leader. And he is only up to 4th. Sam Mayer just behind him in 5th. Daniel Dye has fallen to 6th. Brandon Jones back to 8th after staying out of the pits. Jeb Burton, who restarted 4th, is now out of the top 10. Door to door for 5th. Creed underneath his teammate right now of Sam Mayer. The Haas Motorsports Fords are door to door for position. And Creed will take over that fifth spot. Mayer still holds clear for sixth. Final lap of the stage. Allgaier uncontested at the front of the field, still holding on to second and third is Jeremy Clements and Matt DiBenedetto. Austin Hill going way wide on the outside of the track, trying to find his way around Daniel Dye for fourth. Caution is out on the racetrack again. We got trouble up turn 2. It's Corey Day, and there might have been another car involved as well.
And a donut there on the right side door. No damage, so put some tires on, I guess. Tough part is we don't have a ton of tires, do we?
Right.
Do not. Nope.
Allgaier wins the stage in front of Clements and DiBenedetto. What a great job by the 51 and 99 on those old tires. Austin Hill fourth. And then Daniel Dye on the tires. You give up the track position here, but points the name of the game, and they all got a handful of them.
And on the flip side of that, Jeff Burton stayed out there trying to get stage points, which they do week after week, and he fell all the way back to 30th. Didn't work out for him.
Yeah, if you can hang on to the track position, you can make it work. Once you lose it on the older tires, you go the wrong way. There's the slide day. Second caution of the night in stage 1 in Nashville.
So Corday with the spin off turn 2. It looked like he was on the inside of another car. Might have lost the side force just like we saw from Kyle Sieg and Parker Retzlaff in turns 3 and 4, which brought out the first incident of the evening. This one, though, over in turn 2. Lazy spin for the 17. Didn't back it up into the wall like Retzlaff did, and probably has less damage than even Kyle Sieg did from that same incident as well. It's hard to tell from that camera angle exactly what car he had gotten alongside. Had a clean race going so far, and I mentioned already he had a great night last night, but now he'll be at the tail end of the field with an early mistake in stage 1. As the first stage comes to an end, again, our stage 1 winner will be Justin Allgaier. Jeremy Clements second in the stage, holding on there. Matt DiBenedetto third. Great runs for them. Austin Hill in fourth. Daniel Dye in fifth. Top 5 for the Calling Chevy. Sheldon Creed in 6th, Sam Mayer 7th, Carson Kvapil 8th, Brandon Jones in 9th, and Connor Zilic rounds out the top 10. So 1 point per position, and all Xfinity Series regulars getting the stage points for stage 1. As for Justin Allgaier, that stage win is going to be the 5th of the season for him on the NASCAR Xfinity Series level and adds to his regular season points lead. Coming into the day, Justin Allgaier had a 72-point lead over Austin Hill for the series championship, the regular season championship, that is specifically. They were halfway through the regular season entering today's race, 13 out of 26 completes. Sam Ayers 93 points out of first and third, and fourth is Jesse Love rounding out the top 5, 170 back Brandon Jones. Big gap between fourth and fifth in the standings over one race worth of points. Connor Zilic is sixth in points coming in even after missing a race this season. That race he missed was Texas. As far as the owner standings go, they'll be a little higher than that because Kyle Larson did win that race in the 88 car. Ryan Sieg is 7th in the points. Carson Kvapil is 8th. Jeb Burton 9th. And Sheldon Creed rounds out the top 10. The drivers on the Xfinity Series field with a win this season that are competing for Xfinity Series points. 2 for Justin Allgaier, 3 for Austin Hill, 1 for Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, and Connor Zilic, and then 1 for Sammy Smith also. So as far as the last driver in on points that I haven't mentioned yet, it would be Harrison Burton, who is 11th on the driver standings, but on the playoff grid, he would be 12th because Sammy Smith is outside of the top 12, and only 12 drivers make the Xfinity Series playoff field. Nick Sanchez is the first driver out as of right now behind Harrison Burton. 3 points is the difference between those two drivers coming into the race today. And the difference back to 14th in points, Taylor Gray is 20, and Daniel Dye, who just picked up 6 stage points in stage number 1, is 24 points back. So that's a big 5 points for Dye, who is very much still in contention as well. Dean Thompson 16th in the standings. Christian Eck is 17th. 18th for Brennan Poole. Josh Williams 19th. And Jeremy Clements rounds out the top 20. And even Clements had 9 stage points there in stage 1. So a good start for him this evening. Drivers who stayed out of the pits during the stage 1 caution late in the stage will definitely pit for tires now, be able to top off on fuel. Stage 2 will be 45 laps in distance as well. That should cycle Austin Hill up to second alongside Allgaier. Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer will move up a few rows, as well as Kvapil and Jones. We'll take a quick break. Our first of the stream. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville.
Stage one complete. NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Nashville. Fifth stage one of the year for Justin Allgaier. Let's get a report on the 39 Orion C. Dylan.
And we saw them basically coast into their pit stall at the lap 38 caution, the previous caution to this one. And the simplest explanation was that they ran out of fuel. Car was not running. They had to come in and fuel it back up. And I spoke with Matt Noyce just quickly, the crew chief. He said, it's on us. We just made a mistake. So no major issue. They got the car packed back full of fuel, pre-fired it back up, and Ryan just has some track position to make up now.
Didn't fill it for the race. So let's talk about, how that's happened. So it's a new rule basically that's come into this season for the Xfinity Series where you don't have to refill the car before qualifying. After you run all those laps of practice, the car is lighter, you adjust for that. You can then refuel it after qualifying. It sounds like they didn't. A very lucky timed caution.
Down to Progressive Pit Road. Here's Kim.
Brandon Jones at the top there in that bright yellow Menards Toyota. Remember, he stayed out during the caution. First stop of the night for them. He said, I need more grip. There's actually no rear grip. I can't exit the corner how I want, so they will look for a little rear stability on that race car, Dylan.
Jeremy Clements in the 51 car is going to have a little bit longer stop here, even tight behind the wheel of that race car. And they're going to make a left front shock adjustment. So when they go around here to this side of the car, you'll get a look at least on that change. So a slower stop for them. Matthew Benedetto in, as well as Daniel Dye at the bottom of the screen, said that he was tight in the center at 3 and 4. They battled that condition all day today. So trying to get it a little bit better on the 10 car.
So the good news is that you get some stage points. The bad news is now you come down and you pay the price. You get your tires top off with fuel and get the track position. Justin Allgaier, so good on concrete, been outstanding at Nashville. 3 stage wins here, including the sweep that he picked up here in 2022 when he went to Victory Lane.
That win in 2022 is the only one for Justin Allgaier at Nashville, so looking for his second win at the racetrack today. Was able to steal the stage win. The only laps led of the race so far have been the 9 that he's led consecutively. After our pole sitter, William Sawalch, has gone on to lead 37 laps to start the race. Daniel Dye, under that last caution, led 3. Jeremy Clements, 1 lap on the restart. Those are the 4 drivers to lead at least once in the race today. Top half dozen or so for the next restart. We'll have Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill right around row 1. Third and fourth place will be the teammates of Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer. Carson Kvapil, Connor Zilic will be around row 3. And then behind them, Eric Almirola and Sammy Smith. So that's how things have shaken up following the pit strategy and then that restart at the end of stage 1. Sean, welcome to the stream. If Matty D wins, tears will fall. I don't think Matty D is going to win. I know he started at the end of the last stage, but that was holding on for dear life on old tires at the end of the stage track position. DiBenedetto now back to 27th after hitting pit road. He was able to break through with a truck win at Talladega a couple years ago, so at least he got a win in a premier NASCAR Series event. Yeah, like goal is 100 for tonight's stream, so if you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. So we can try to get to that goal. We're at 62 right now after stage 1. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend, truck Xfinity Cup races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Select other motorsport races throughout the year, like last weekend, of course, the Indianapolis 500. We've done a few ARCA races this season as well. I'll be at the Michigan International Speedway next Sunday for the Cup race, but we'll still be live on Saturday for Cup practice and qualifying, as well as the NASCAR Craftsman Truck race. Xfinity Series is actually going to be off entirely next weekend at Michigan, so it's just the Truck and the Cup Series. And again, I will be in attendance for that Cup race. Michigan is my home track, and keeping the streak alive. I've been there for every Cup race since spring of 2018, outside of the pandemic year of 2020 when they couldn't have fans at the track. So keeping that streak alive here this weekend. I'll be there for the Cup race, but I'll be here to give you guys commentary Saturday for the Truck race, and again, practice and qualifying earlier that morning for the Cup Series as well. Michigan is very fast. Yes, it is. We'll have our diecast showing at the end of stage 2, as we usually do. Our chat poll will close at the end of stage 2. I asked you who you think is going to win today's race at Nashville. 73 votes so far have been casted. 41% taking Justin Allgaier for the win. 29% have Ross Chastain, who's my pick for the win. Somebody other than Chastain, Almirola, or Allgaier at 23%, Justin Allgaier at 7%. Allgaier has not made a start since Martinsville, I believe, in the Xfinity Series, so it's been a minute. He does have 4 starts this season. 3 of those finishes were in the top 5, and he has a win at Phoenix. He was as high as 5th in stage 1. He'll be restarting 7th. I thought he could definitely contend here. He does have a Cup Series pole in 2021 at Nashville Superspeedway. He's good on these shorter ovals that are flat. I wouldn't consider this necessarily a flat track, but I think it's in his repertoire.
Now for unbeatable deals on thousands of top brands. GovX savings for those who serve. And now we do our golden moment, brought to you by Golden Corral. Restart on the 4th row. Justin Allgaier said, I got tires and I'm coming through. 7 driving right to the front.
Got a little bump there from Sheldon Creed that propelled him forward out of 2 and basically never looked back. Got control of this race, and I think that is a problem for all of our other competitors that the 7 has got to lead this race. He looked like the best on the long run in practice. He looked good on the short run, Austin. He's overall fast.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Allgaier concrete. How are you gonna bet against this guy? That's gonna make this restart very important. Try and get control back from this guy. And you've had a chance to make adjustments in your car. This is the first time Xfinity Series have been here at night quite some time, and these guys have been able to put a few wrenches in the window and make some adjustments. And before those guys are able to keep up with the step on it.
Swalwich lost a lot of track position here in that cycle of stops and strategy and the way things went on the restart.
Green flag is back in the air. A good launch for Allgaier and a great launch for Austin Hill on the outside of row 1 despite not being the control car. Couple of them 3 wide back in the back half of the top 10. Taylor Gray was poking himself down under the apron. Clear off turn 2, though, despite a great initial launch out of the restart zone by Austin Hill. He's about 2 car lengths behind Allgaier down the back straightaway and entering turn 3. Third place is Sheldon Creed. Side-by-side battle for 4th still ongoing between Quapple and Mayer. Quapple on the outside, Mayer down low on the bottom. Mayer can't get a good drive off turn 4. Swings wide, almost makes contact with the 19 and trying to make a block on Almirola. Almirola is there into turn 1, still on the outside, and will clear for 5th on Mayer. Quapple out in front of both of them. 3 wide in the back half of the top 10 off turn 2, second lap following the restart. Our pole sitter Sawallich has Christian Eckes underneath him. Can't tell who that other car. Looks like Josh Williams also in the mix back there. Flirting with the top 10. Great start to the day for him. I believe he had a top 10 at Charlotte last week as well. He's 20th in the point standings, but maybe some momentum swinging Josh Williams' way at Colleague. Sam Mayer slips up the racetrack, trying to make a pass attempt after the 19 who cleared him the lap before off turn 2. Overdriving the corner by Mayer is not only going to cost him a chance to pass Almirola, but Connor Zilic and Sammy Smith are looking to get by as well. Zilic clear off turn 4. Sammy Smith is not. Mayer makes contact with the wall off the exit of the corner after the 8 car might have ran him a bit wide. Sammy Smith still side drafting the heck out of Sam Mayer underneath him. We'll have to keep an eye on the 41 to make sure there isn't a tire rub, but he definitely scuffed the wall off turn 4 that last time by. Justin Allgaier, after winning stage 1, also has the fastest lap of the race still. His lead is 1 second over Austin Hill following the restart. Sheldon Creed's a second and a half off the lead in 3rd. 2.1 seconds back for Carson Quapple in 4th. Eric Almirola 2.5 seconds off the lead in 5th. 6th place is Connor Zilic, who's already now 3.6 seconds back. Josh Williams up to 7th place. Another great performance. Couple more passes made for the 11. Williams is 4.4 seconds off the lead. Sammy Smith is 8, and he is 4.9 seconds back. Ross Chastain back up to 9th place in the number 9. And 5.7 seconds back, and Sam Mayer has fallen to 10th after making contact with the wall a couple of laps ago. Sam Mayer is 5.8 seconds off the lead in that 10th spot. So that is the top 10 and the interval between those cars as they battle in the early part of stage 2. Chastain gets cleared high by Sammy Smith, who's made a lot of aggressive moves in the aftermath of trying to make the pass on Sam Mayer and then making that block on Chastain to the outside off turn 2 the last time by as well. Chastain and Mayer still running door to door for position. It looks like Chastain should have him cleared into turn 1. Pretty close to it, at least. They're slipping up the racetrack. It really seems like that 41 car is having a hard time trying to roll the bottom. Center of the corner, he's not able to stay hooked to that yellow line as long as he probably needs to. Lead is 1.8 seconds for Allgaier over Hill out in front. Eckes making a pass on screen on Taylor Gray. Just outside the top 10 is the battle between the 16 and the 54. Battle is for 11th. Car in the grass on the front stretch, bringing out our third caution of the day, and that would be the 31. Blaine Perkins, cause of the third caution in our second incident, first of stage 2. So again, 30 laps to go in the second stage of this race. It'll be interesting to see what kind of pit strategy we might get from this yellow at just shy of the halfway mark in the stage. Little contact cleaning off the 31. 70 of Leland Honeyman was underneath the left rear corner panel of Perkins' race car. Slid up into the left rear of Perkins. Perkins might have grazed the wall with the right rear corner as his car came around as well. No major damage, and luckily sliding through the grass didn't tear up the nose or anything like that, so Perkins will be able to continue. Saw a couple of spins in the Cup Series practice session earlier where they spun off turn 4, went through the grass. The likes of Josh Berry and Kyle Busch luckily didn't tear their cars up either. TJ, welcome into the stream. Once again, third caution of the day. And the first 62 laps of our NASCAR Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville. Am I a fan of Carson Hocevar? Cool that he's from Michigan, and I live pretty close to the Michigan border in Northwest Ohio, so somewhat local. Young kid. That's my mom's new favorite driver. She was struggling to try to find one after Kevin Harvick retired a couple years ago, and she has settled on Carson Hocevar now. And I keep telling her I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. Definitely is a real talent behind the wheel of a race car, and we kind of got a glimpse of that in his first Cup start, filling in for Corey LaJoie when LaJoie went to drive for Chase Elliott at Gateway back in 2023, when Elliott was suspended for a week following his incident with Hamlin in the Coke 600. And he was running top 15 in his first career Cup start and making passes in the top 15 before having a brake failure. From that point on, we knew we'd be seeing that kid back again in the Cup Series, and here he is. He's been competing for wins a couple times already this season, and I think he's going to be on his way to trying to get a victory here. So sometime, maybe in the near future. He looks quick again this weekend. I think Michigan will be a good track for him next week, too. Yeah, we got well over 100 people watching right now concurrently. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We'll take a quick break while we're waiting on the next restart. Again, you're listening live KRC NASCAR Xfinity Series coverage on the channel. Elliott, Jimmy Bowman. Hendrick fan, I see. Got to calm down a little bit. I mean, he did last week. I thought he did a great job last week in the 600. Racing hard, but racing super clean with the 24 and the 11. Had some real speed. You just wish that his engine could have made it to the end to see what he could have had for Chastain, Byron, Hamlin in that final stage. because he was definitely keeping up with them and lurking to make passes in stage 3 just before that. Used to buy baseball cards from his dad's Scotch shop. I was a kid. Cool seeing him in Cup. Yeah, for sure. Especially when you have that close of a connection. From a town about 10 minutes from Portage. Josh Williams, the biggest mover. Yeah, he has definitely been on the move. 7th place at the time of the caution. Well, it wasn't 7th. It looks like Sammy Smith got around him just before that, but 8th place. Time of the yellow for Williams.
Watching round 14 for the NASCAR.
Let you listen in to some of the broadcast here on this next restart.
Begins tonight. Parker Quitterman is in the booth. Austin Cindric, our special guest. I'm Adam Alexander. Kim Dillon hanging out down there with Carla on the pit lane. What's up tonight? As we feature Ryan Ellis. It's our Race Fit Health Report brought to you by Breadstreet.
5 days per week, weight training, HIIT, sauna, bike workout. He doesn't only just work off track. I'm trying to grade that function to be in that race car, also working on the physical side as well.
What's he doing ice hockey in North Carolina? That's what I
know that makes you for it.
Joey's got it though, right?
Yeah.
He's he does the phone curls because he's always calling everyone trying to find
dialing dollars there.
Or it's going to pay more than anything else. That's for sure. It's like it's going to be a good restart here. Yeah, we get a bit of a rematch here between Allgaier and Hill, and got cycle on tires now for all these guys. That happens a lot in these cars in this series. You don't quite know what's going to happen with your car and the balance, but the thing of Austin Hill gets as good of a jump as he did last time. He might have an even better shot with this being older tires.
The Echo Park Automotive restart zone awaits Allgaier and Hill as we resume action stage 2.
Justin got a pretty good jump there. See, Carson Kvapil got to the back bumper of Austin Hill, gave him a bit of a push. Can he stay beside Justin?
Nope.
3 wide for third. 3 down low for second.
Sammy Smith.
Oh, Williams almost got turned.
Old teammates racing for the runner-up spot. 00 Sheldon Green. Look behind him. Wide at Nashville. Are you kidding me? 54 rookie driver Taylor Gray comes through.
That wasn't going to work. I like the bump draft here from Chastain in the back. Sammy Smith down to the inside, side draft into 1.
I would say he's helping. He's just pushing him out of the way so he can drive through. Thank you to Acceptance Insurance for letting us ride on board through that. Who else but Ross?
Nobody. That was an awesome move. Just the whole sequence there from off turn 4 to get in the back bumper of Sammy, pushing him, using him, then side drafting and getting the pass completed.
5 junior motorsport Chevys in the race tonight. They're all in the top 10.
Gosh, Mayer and Smith can't get away from each other. This is just like the last restart. They're just dogging each other for this.
Deja, oh,
Sam and
finally,
Sam.
He's probably going to complete this pass. That's a welcome sight for him to not be beside the 8 for once.
One more here with Christian Eckes trying to get a run on the 8 car running up high. Almost probably too high as you hear back out of the gas.
Mike G, welcome to the
This is
stream.
The race where the drivers don't quite know where the track is anymore. We've had a few refires, we've had a few cycles, and rubber's gotten pulled up as you see Eric Amarola really laying the air pack here to the 88 car. And guys are trying to figure out what lane they want to run now. You see some guys trying high, trying low, but sometimes you just have to go back to the well and try the block.
And one factor that you can see visibly on your screen as we've gone into the nighttime here. It's not happened in the Xfinity Series in many, many years. To be racing here tonight, a lot of teams had no idea what this would bring in terms of handling and how this track would change. They were watching old truck races, trying to figure out what might happen. So not only do you have those refires on these tires, the rubber being picked up, but also we're going into definitely different and cooler conditions than we've raced here in the past.
So you know what they need right now with Ross Chastain. He has passed so many cars in such a short amount of time, running high, running low, making all the right moves. And I'm not saying this like I'm surprised, but it's bad news for these guys. And if he's able to get close to Allgaier, who's opened up a bit, could be a good little thrill.
Number 9 plus 4 since the restart, paying off statistically what you're talking about. And he's got more right in front of him. Eric Almirola is there. You got Connor Zillage. Engine number 9 playing quite nicely tonight as he moves around. He's got a great handling race car, Kim.
Actually, the handling not great. The speed is good on that car, but Ross came on and said, we went from too tight to too loose. He said, in fact, so loose, I'm learning how to drive it this loose because it's been a while since I've had a car this free. Look to add wedge the next time. Maybe just not keeping up the migration of the racetrack, because earlier in practice, they were so happy they were able to do a very long run in practice. So they'll look for some changes. Again, they've got pace, but not the balance, Dylan.
Again, another car that's in an early mover is Taylor Gray in the 54 car. Started 24th. They played the strategy right there, flipped the stage before the end of stage one and got some track position. And then Taylor had a couple good moves on the restart as well to gain some spots. They were a little bit tight this morning in practice, actually a lot tight. Spoke with Jason Ratcliffe, and he said, I want to emphasize being good on the bottom. That's what we did in practice, and if we're good down there, I think we'll be able to move around and shouldn't have any issues. So whatever they've done on the 54, it's at least worked for now, and Gray's been on the move, Carla.
Yeah, not a driver that sounds like they've learned more in the first half of the season than Sammy Smith. You think about getting DQ'd in Charlotte last week after finishing fifth, but he's still in a great mental state today. You even go back to his DQ, or him capitalizing on a DQ at Rockingham and then penalized at Martinsville. He said the Martinsville situation might be the best thing that ever happened to him. Has also been mentored by NASCAR Hall of Famer Carl Edwards. He's kind of hoping with his all-track mentality this season, and that seems to be helping the arguments.
Well, that never bad to have a Hall of Famer give you some good advice. And I agree with the sentiment there around what happened with Sammy at Martinsville and how he sort of changed his outlook and how it's made him probably have to look at things from a higher level than he has in the past as he gets real tight here. Daniel Dye on his rear bumper right now. He's not going to be happy about that. That's not going to play well inside the race car.
But how about Dye? In the way they played the strategy, you get those stage points, and it's working out well because now, so many times you give it up, you can't get it back after you get the points. He's doing it, driving back up through there. And much needed, as I said, a DNF last week at Charlotte. They needed to come back.
Right, and after, he had the lead there, but lost it down in turn one when they stayed out during that caution towards the end of stage one. And he sort of lost the front end, went up racetrack, but recovered nicely and stayed there in the top 10. So that was pretty impressive to see. I think he would love to have that restart back and be able to do it again. Because I think he has the speed in that race car that had he stayed out there, he possibly could have won that stage.
Well, because you think about Clements and DiBenedetto were up there, and they did finish in the top three. He fell back right around fifth there at the end of the stage. For third, Eric Almirola, 1921 Austin Hill. And by the way, as Almirola completes the pass, I'm glad for the sake of Ross Chastain that the car's not handling well. I hate it with competition because he is just cutting through there. And Kim said he's got speed, just not the handle. If they find that in this final stage, 9 will be really dangerous.
And also, when we were on board with Chastain, you could see him working the outside and making it work on the exit. That's so tough to do here as you go on board with Austin Hill, who is running outside, but he doesn't get that momentum on the top side that you see on the exit of the corners, whereas the 9 seems to. Every time we go on board with him, he closes on the cars in front on the exit of the corner.
When he's to the edge of that dark groove that's come over him, and he's been almost single-handedly pushing that up. I feel like some guys kind of run up, but he's been to the absolute tip top of it, and you have to be so disciplined to not jump that extra little bit and look for that line. But it seems like he's stabilized a little bit. Really interesting to hear as you see him get loose. Really interesting to hear the report there about him not being super happy with the handling of the race car. I think some of that, it can come down to track conditions. Some of that can come down to not being in this car, really much before. But he's still making it work when he's been uncomfortable.
And when we're on board there, Adam, you can hear him pedaling it when he had to go to the bottom because I think Zilich got the message probably from his spotter that the 9 was using the outside so effectively as well as the 21. So Ross Chastain's had to change his line and go lower, and that car really loose when he's lower. He needs almost that fresh concrete on the outside you were talking about, pushing that groove all the way up to just get some grip in that right rear tire. The bottom's just not working for him.
When we're talking about these guys trying to make lap time up top, Allgaier and Creed, the 2 fastest cars right now, are wrapping the bottom.
Of course.
So it is so difficult to convince yourself sometimes of what lane to run when you're hearing information about different things and you're feeling different things, but then the guy who's winning the race right now is running the bottom. So in this situation, you got a great battle here. You have to just go where the other cars aren't, make it work.
Right.
Their driver to watch long haul in this race is Zilich, because just the knowledge that he continues to gain in his first start here.
And Austin Hill continues to fight this race car. It just seems like as we get to the mid portion of the run, something goes amiss inside that car to what he wants it to be doing because he just starts to fall back. He's constantly on defense, corner after corner, just can't seem to find the handle and be able to move forward, generate positive momentum. Thankfully, he keeps starting with a lot of track position.
Yeah, short run and pit stops, man.
Yeah.
They pay off big time as Sammy Smith is still out here battling for his life to try and keep track position, talking about him.
Jesse Lowe's been quiet. You know, if you go to this race last year, started in the back, didn't make a qualifying run, drives up into the top 3. I had him circled on my short list of drivers coming to the weekend, but they have not been quite as fast as I thought. And then there's, you know, Harrison Burton in the 25, 13th. They need a good run. Came in just above the cut line, and he's trying to capitalize with another top 15.
I was hanging out with Jesse Love in his hauler earlier today, and his crew chief, Danny Stockman, after qualifying, he was quite quiet in terms of Danny because wasn't too impressed with their qualifying effort around 15th, and Jesse didn't quite know what went wrong there. He was a little upset with himself as well, but he felt like at least when what they were looking at, they were pretty good on the long run. I think we've seen that where he's been able to make passes, though, and a car that can make passes here at Nashville usually means a fast race car. As we look at the 10 of Daniel Dye, well, it's one way to make a pass.
We talk so much about this rookie class, and Dye is one that has been incredibly consistent versus some of the others, and it's showing again tonight in position to get a stage point or two again as we head toward the end of our second stint of the race.
But nothing can make you more frustrated than for Taylor Gray in that position getting bumped out of the way. Especially here, it's about 125 mile an hour mid corner speed here at Nashville.
Well, that's the short track piece.
Yeah, that's the short track part.
Yeah, that's where it starts to feel more like a short track, and it's something you don't see very often. That's for sure. But obviously, no harm, no foul.
Not anywhere you're doing 125 mile an hour in the middle of the corner. You're still going pretty fast around here.
Restart didn't go good for Josh Williams, but he's trying to make a comeback here, racing for position. That's 13th on the line. He and Harrison Burton. And you look at Colleague overall tonight, I'd say 3 in the top 15 with 2 rookies when you consider some of the challenges they faced this year. You'll take it as we head toward the end of stage 2. Very much in the game for the final one tonight.
And they need it. They desperately need it, especially that 16 car. You know, last week they're still getting a 9th with no stage points, but still having some positive movement in the points. I just think this team came in with so much promise and so much enthusiasm behind them. What Christian's been able to do in the truck series the last couple of years, what the 16 car has done with AJ Allmendinger and Alex Jantz, who's the crew chief, who's done such great things with AJ. I think a lot of people looked at this, including myself, as someone who was going to be, you know, right at the front immediately, and they just had such a start to the season, Kim, but they're finally looking like they might be turning around.
Yeah, and Christian has been great here at Trucks. This team has been great here in the Pacific. AJ, when I checked in with crew chief Alex Johnson, it was interesting. I kind of asked him to reflect on the first half of the regular season versus where they are now. And he said, the biggest thing I'm trying to instill in Christian is you need to start having fun. He said, I told Christian, you have a job. You don't need to worry about what's next. Right now, you need to make sure you're enjoying yourself, because if you're not, that can start snowballing and then tripping over yourself and having finishes you don't like, and it becomes this big cycle. So right now, the goal is for Christian to have fun.
Knowing a little bit about Christian, and I can relate to this. I am my harshest critic, and I feel like he's the guy that puts a ton into it. You know, Colin Presley, somebody I've worked with, spots for him, and has told me that like he reminds him of me, right? Just
Slight buffer on the broadcast, looks like.
Make sure you're enjoying yourself, because if you're not,
I fell behind.
slowly pay off for those guys.
It's weird when it gets too serious at once, right? You have to have that check with yourself. Wait a second.
Here's how,
That's all race cars for a living.
here's how dedicated he is, though. Alex Jantz actually gave him a key to the shop. I mean, that's not normal, right? So, 2 to go on the stage. Allgaier leading by 3.2 seconds over Creed. Creed's really doing a good job of collecting much needed points. Manor and Hill continue to fight for 6th.
Right, that's really big for Sheldon Green's Double Zero team. You know, last week they were put in an awkward position where they had to make an unscheduled stop. They got a lucky caution shot in the back, but had they not gotten that and had a bad finish, they were looking at being outside of the playoffs. Still was on the bubble coming in this race, but points like this, the second place in the stage, absolutely massive for that team to get started go back the right direction in terms of points.
Blaine Perkins trying to stay on the lead lap as we finish stage 2. Allgaier playing nice right now. Even if he goes by, he'd get the free pass, right? Justin Allgaier going to get the stage sweep. 16th time in his career he swept the stages. That's the most all time. But I will say this, only 3 other times has he gone on to win the race. However, 2022, he got the sweep here at Nashville, and he also took the checkered flag. Creed, Almirola, Zillich, Chastain, your top 5, 2 stages down, and a good finish coming. We're live in Nashville on a Saturday night. It's the Xfinity Series on CW.
I mean, how do you find another stat line like that can describe Justin Allgaier in the NASCAR Xfinity Series? That he swept stages 1 and 2 16 times, but he's only won 3 of those races. That's rough. One of those was last week at Charlotte, and unfortunately, wrong pit strategy went awry there. It seems like that 17 finds a new way to lose races that they dominate more often than not. He does have 2 wins so far this season. He'll probably get a couple more before the season's out as well, but you just wonder how many he could have if the execution was flawless from beginning to end. Probably why he's in the Xfinity Series. But nevertheless, Justin Allgaier has won the first 2 stages again here today. Stage wins number 5 and 6 on the season for him. And he had about a 3-second advantage over second place Sheldon Creed at the end of stage 2. So Sheldon Creed was second behind Allgaier. Eric Almirola third, Connor Zillich fourth, and Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Sam Mayer in 6th, Austin Hill 7th, Carson Kvapil 8th, Christian Eckes 9th, and Daniel Dye rounds out the top 10. So those are the 10 drivers at the end of the last stage. All 37 cars on the lead lap, by the way. At the end of stage number 2 that remain in the race. Only 1 driver is not on the lead lap, and that was the only driver who had wrecked out back in stage 1. Parker Rutzlaff got into an incident. Also involved in that same incident was Kyle Sieg, but he still remains in the race. Sieg is currently 24th. Corey Day went for a spin early in stage 2, and he has only recovered to 25th so far. 2 cautions per incident, 2 stage breaks have brought out the 4 yellows in the first 93 laps. 4 lead changes. Justin Allgaier's led the most laps so far with 52, 37 for the pole sitter Sawalich, who was not in the top 10 at the end of stage 2. Sawalich has actually fallen all the way back to 16th now that he's in traffic. Not going well for him yet again. STL Mark, welcome to the stream. Which one of you guys in the chat said that Creed was locked in for a second place finish tonight? Because here he is second at the end of stage 2. I can't remember who it was. Somebody mentioned it like right as the race was starting. Here we go again. How many does he have? I've lost count. Isn't it like 11 or 12 second place finishes without a win? I mean, it's comical at this point. Hence the reason for the joke. All right, pit road's going to be opening shortly. We'll end the chat poll since we're at the end of stage 2. Ask you guys who you thought was going to win tonight's Xfinity race in Nashville. And I believe Justin Allgaier wins that voting poll at 43% out of 92 votes. 27% took Ross Chastain, who was 5th at the end of the stage. Eric Almirola only 6% of the votes, but he was 3rd at the end of stage 2. And somebody other than those 3 was 3rd in our chat poll at 22%. Pit road should be open this time by, and then we'll have our die cast showing before the stage 3 restart. We'll listen in for some of these pit road updates. They're outside the field window to make it to the end of the race, so this will not be the final pit stop. We'll still have one more stop after this, so a couple of chances to make adjustments yet. Leaders are just getting into turns 3 and 4 at caution pace. Allgaier lost the lead to Austin Hill during the last pit stop and then got the lead back on the restart. Hill being back in 6th, going to be tough for him to win the race off of pit road.
Is open. Here they are.
So we'll see if the 7 team can
We'll watch them come
keep
down
the
pit
7
road,
car
starting
up
with
there.
Eric Almirola at the top of your screen said, I still need a little more turn. It's still loaded up, slight air pressure adjustment on those fresh Goodyear tires. 0-0 of Sheldon Creed hitting the box right there. He said, free entry, tight center to fire off, but the longer I go, the more secure I get on the entry, but that tight center builds really badly. Air pressure adjustment on that 0-0 done.
Justin Allgaier has been really happy in clean air, but Jim Pullman going to stay ahead of the track and continue to free him up. Just a small track bar and small air pressure adjustment on the 7. Chassis adjustment as well on the 88 of Connor Zillage. We reported that he was educated and tight in the center, but better than they were on the first run. 4 tires and fuel for the 88.
Great stop for the 88 of Connor Zilich's crew. Gets him up to 3rd. Sam Mayer up 2 spots to 4th. 2 spots lost for Almirola. Biggest change. Sheldon Creed wins the race off pit road, beating Allgaier's team. That 7 crew has lost 1 spot on pit road during the first 2 spots of the race. Each stop, they've lost 1 position, that is. So as we get into stage 2 here shortly, we'll get through the diecast showing first. And for today's diecast showing, first time I've shown it off this year. I did show it once last season. This is an Elliott Sadler 2009 Best Buy Dodge Charger from his Evernham days, the number 19 car. I always like the Best Buy schemes over the years. Matt Kenseth's probably the best. But Jeff Green had a good one there in the 66 car for a long period of time through the 2000s. This Elliott Sadler car is pretty nice looking. And this one's actually autographed on the windshield as well. But that will be today's diecast showing. Sadler, quite a few wins in the NASCAR Xfinity Series level through his career. Competed for a couple of championships late. Didn't win one, but finished as high as 2nd in the points at one particular time. And here he is. Drove for Junior Motorsports. We got a Junior Motorsports Chevy who's led the most laps and won the first 2 stages, so there's some correlation. But that will be tonight's diecast showing. Of course, car tomorrow with the wing. I actually did have to super glue this wing back on, so I am not touching it again. I think I dropped it and then the wing broke on me. I will say these diecasts, they're fairly indestructible, but if you get the car of tomorrow diecast with the wing breaks so easy on these things. So easy. Because I'm pretty sure when I dropped it, it landed like down like this. It didn't even land on the wing, and then the wing popped off. I can remember that on some of the 1/64 scale diecasts that I had when I was growing up, and there was some wings missing on some of those cars as well. They're very fragile. Very light piece of plastic. Rebel Soul, was that you mentioned earlier about 2nd place for Sheldon Creed? I'm pulling for him. I stay unbiased with these live commentary streams, but it'd be a cool story if he could finally break through. Lots of racing left. Yes, there is. Pretty much the entire second half of the race is this final stage. Just over an hour to get to this point. Let Allgaier do his thing until the last 10 laps. Like I said, let Allgaier do his wrecking thing. Yeah, we'll see. He didn't wreck last week. Last week it was strategy that went wrong on the driver. These are the first laps Sheldon Creed has led today. He was 2nd at the end of stage 2. We'll see how he holds on here. We'll take a break while we await the next restart. You're listening live on KRC to the Tennessee Lottery 250 in Nashville. Freak post-race shows on the NASCAR Xfinity Series streams on the channel, but we will go obviously through the full field running order at the end of the race. You'll get an interview from the race winner, maybe another top finisher as well immediately after. Tomorrow for the pre-race and post-race, they are extended for the NASCAR Cup Series live streams on the channel. And we will kick things off with our live stream at 6:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll do some NASCAR trivia. We'll document who I think will run well, not run well in the pre-race. Highlight the Fantasy League. And then we'll go through how the season has gone up to this point. And then the starting lineup leading to the drop of the green flag. Usually half hour to 45 minutes before the drop of the green flag every Cup race we go live. So we'll have all flag-to-flag coverage for you there. Pulling for the 88 and 9. Like to see Creed pull out a win as well. All right, well, Creed and Allgaier are front row here. Creed will be the control car on the bottom lane of the racetrack. Justin Allgaier on the outside. Pace car should be pulling onto pit road here. Lights are obviously out. They're doubled up. And we'll be getting the green flag. Into the restart zone, green flag back in the air. Oh, 16! Into the back of somebody in front of him, and a pile up in the back half of the field brings out a caution for the 5th time today. I don't even know how that started. That happened so quick. First car I noticed with damage was the 16 of Christian Eckes. He ran into the car in front of him, and everybody else piled in behind in an accordion effect. Eckes is definitely going to be done for the day. Same for Ryan Ellis in the 71. Brandon Jones went spinning in the grass, but I don't think he had a lot of damage. There were several others that were also caught up in the crash as well. This all took place outside of the top 10, so it wasn't anybody at the front. I assume somebody just mistimed the restart. I didn't notice anybody struggling to get going. Not only at the front of the field, but even in the middle of the pack. And Christian Eckes was the first car I noticed struggling to get going, but I noticed he already had the nose damage. So it was after contact. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Eckes' night is done. Yeah, that was very strange. They're showing the replay on the broadcast now. Okay, so logjam. I got to see that again. I saw Eckes running into the back of the car in front of him, but I don't know exactly where the stack up started. Did both lines at the front check up? Okay, so it was an accordion all the way through the field. I think Creed waited to go out of the restart zone until the very end. And Connor Zilic, who was on the inside of row 2, had gotten into the back of him, gave him a bump, and then the car in the back of Zilic Almirola hit him, and the gray hit Almirola, and they all accordioned until the 16 smashed the back of the car in front of him, about 7 rows deep on the inside. And once he smashed the back of whoever's car it was right in front of him, looked like Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton was the car that got hit from behind by Eckes. All the cars were getting smashed up and accordion behind Eckes on the inside. So that is where the crash took place. Yeah, it was on, Zilic mistimed it on row 2, and then everybody accordion behind him. It's hard to believe it took until about the 7th car before the crash happened, but that's what I saw from it. They weren't at the back of the restart zone when Zilic hit Creed, which indicates to me that Zilic did fire off way too soon and just mistimed it. And everybody else is following the car in front of him, so once Zilic goes, Almirola's going. Once Almirola goes, Gray's going, and so on and so forth. And that was bound to happen somewhere in the pack, and unfortunately for Eckes, he was the first one to have significant damage after hitting the back of Burton's car. I haven't seen the back of Harrison Burton's car since the incident, but it didn't look like he had a lot of damage, despite the fact that there was a giant hole in the nose of the 16. He hit him square. Just a little too hard of an impact. Crunching fenders. I'd be shocked if Creed wins. He's a Ford. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that in the chat earlier. There's very few Fords that are competitive. I mean, obviously SHR was more competitive in the Xfinity Series under that label and not so much with the Haas factory team. Mayer's top 5 in points, but he hasn't won this year. He hasn't led a lot of laps either. Sheldon Creed hasn't led a lot of laps. And he's had a couple of good finishes, 10th in points. They're not as good as what they were before. Like even Riley Herbst had competitive enough cars to compete for wins, and I don't really see that out of the 41 to 00 this year. After the setback from one year to the next with the sellout. And then outside of that, Ryan Sieg, Harrison Burton. Like Burton's doing great in the equipment he is at right now at AM Racing, but obviously not going to be contending for wins. Ryan Sieg on a rare occasion could compete for a win throughout his Xfinity Series 10 year over the last few years especially. He might be able to get into the playoffs at the season's end, but that would be about it. So McFarland red, kinda. Nobody spun the tires necessarily, but it was definitely a missed timing on the restart. Well, it's as much the car as it is the driver. It's tough. It depends what kind of equipment they're in though. If you're not performing when running for a team that consistently is up there leading laps and winning races, that's one thing. But knowing how much that SHR team downsized when they sold most of their ownership, a lot of the people that work at Haas Factory obviously were there with SHR before, but they downsized so much and they lost so many, good members. And you got to figure too, a lot of the members from SHR that were on the upscale, the higher end, they were probably let go and got different jobs elsewhere. And Haas Factory team is basically left running with whoever they have left, while these other teams have picked up the better of the resources from that organization. And I think it definitely shows with the performance side of things. Maybe not as much of a setback at Xfinity with having 2 teams before and still 2 teams after compared to Cup going from 4 cars to 1. More laps led under the caution for Sheldon Creed as he was scored as the leader at the time of the yellow with the restart caution going on behind him. Cleanup continues. Yeah, the outside road didn't stack up nearly as much as the inside. There are really a couple of cars that are actually taken out of the race following this crash. Christian Eckes, Ryan Ellis are the only 2 that are actually out of the race. Despite the fact that Josh Williams went spinning through the grass to 42, 28. Maybe even a couple others might have missed. I think Jeffrey Earnhardt was down in the grass. No, he just missed it. He steered wide. The 70 of Honeyman was down in the grass too. It does seem like the broadcast is picking up that maybe it was Zilich as well that was the cause of the incident. I haven't listened into any of it yet. But considering that they have the team communications on the CW broadcast right now, leads me to believe that that is probably the case.
That's the other side of the story. Of course, if you're trying to anticipate it, you're going to feel that. We're trying to reference visually off of the 00 versus the 7 versus the 88, and that's a really tough thing to see. Obviously, Connor has the best view of what he felt like the 00 did. That's something that NASCAR does not want to happen. You're not allowed to sort of check up in the restart zone, play those sorts of games. They will call you out on that, especially if it's egregious. I just didn't see it there out of the 00. To me, it's like he just chose to go later in the box, didn't accelerate when others thought, and it feels like Connor's position that's almost a checkup.
Kim?
Yeah, we saw Brandon Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
While he avoided disaster, he didn't come out unscathed. Came on the radio after sliding around Christian Eckes and said, "I feel like I flat spotted my tires." They kind of debated on the radio, and Sam McCauley, the crew chief, said, "Well, a flat spot's better than 30-lap scuffs because they did not want to put on their last set of Goodyears. Remember, they do not have extra tires for this race. Ultimately, though, they just brought him down. They felt like their best shot was to put on those sticker tires, so he has on his last set of Goodyear tires with 84 laps to go here tonight, Dylan.
And Kim, we've talked a lot tonight about the rubber pickup and the rubber that's getting laid down on the racetrack. Here's a pretty good example of what a tire looks like that just came off of a race car that has a lot of buildup on it. This is the right front off of Justin Allgaier's car that just came off the race car. And when they took it off, I thought that there was a problem with it because there's a ring. It's probably the thickness of a coin all the way around this tire that is just rubber buildup. It's basically been pulled off the racetrack. And here's where you can kind of see what a quote-unquote clean tire looks like, this bottom part of the racetrack. So, Parker, Austin, you guys can kind of elaborate on this. When they tell you on the radio, make sure you get these tires cleaned off, this is why, because there's a pretty significant difference here between what you pull up off the racetrack and maybe what you want to put back down on the racetrack.
When we talk about that color change in the surface, that's why the color changes.
Where it goes.
We're pulling that all off the racetrack, and it's got to go somewhere.
All right, haven't gotten the one to go signal yet. I'd imagine sometime soon they will. Somebody missed a shift. I don't think that was the case. Kind of like Parker Kligerman mentioned on the broadcast, it didn't really seem to me like the 00 slowed down. Yeah, I didn't notice anything he did wrong. I don't think Creed did anything wrong. I think it was more a rookie error on Zilich just firing off a little too soon. Well, first caution of Stage 3. We only had one yellow for incident in Stages 1, 2, and 3. Stage 3 went caution-free in the truck race last night, which was around 60 laps. And by the time we get this next restart in, we'll still be a little bit outside the fuel window.
So listen to that. You hear the tone. No, I gotta get even as you can all allow. But honestly, this happens in racing so often that the rest of the field anticipates something, and the only guy that doesn't.
Yeah, no fault for Creed there. Listening to the onboard audio. Gonna have about 80 laps to go in the next restart. Lights still out on the pace car. See if they get one to go this time and double up into the restart zone. And so the choose rule as far as what lane that they will take for the next restart. Full field running order rundown under the caution right now. We've got Sheldon Creed out in front of the field. Justin Allgaier in second. Connor Zilich is third. Sam Mayer fourth. And Eric Almirola in fifth. Austin Hill sixth. Taylor Gray seventh. Carson Quapple eighth. Daniel Dye ninth. And Jesse Love in 10th. 11th place is William Sawalich. Ross Chastain 12th. Sammy Smith 13th. Jeb Burton 14th. And Dean Thompson 15th. 16th is Brennan Poole. Jeremy Clements 17th. Nick Sanchez in 18th. Myatt Snyder 19th. And Mason Maggio 20th. Nick Lights, 21st. Mason Massey, 22nd. Jeffrey Earnhardt, 23rd. Blaine Perkins, 24th. And Matt DiBenedetto, 25th. Kyle Sieg, 26th. Thomas Annunziata, 27th. Oh, boy. What happened here? I clicked on an ad on the right side of the screen. What happened to NASCAR.com? That was strange. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully we get the running order back. There we go. All right, let's try that again. Sheldon Creed in first. Justin Allgaier second. Connor Zilich in third. Oh, come on. There we go. Sam Mayer in fourth. Eric Almirola fifth. Austin Hill sixth. Taylor Gray seventh. Carson Quapple eighth. Daniel Dye ninth. Jesse Love in 10th. Then William Sawalich in 11th. Ross Chastain 12th. Sammy Smith 13th. Mason Massey 14th. Matt DiBenedetto 15th. 16th is Jeff Burton, Dean Thompson 17th, 18th for Logan Bearden, Brendan Poole 19th, Jeremy Clements 20th, Anthony Alfredo 21st, Nick Sanchez 22nd, Mike Snyder 23rd, Mason Maggio 24th, and Nick Lights 25th. Blaine Perkins 26th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 27th, Thomas Annunziata 28th, Brandon Jones 29th and 30th. Al Sieg is 34th, Chris Wright 35th, Christian Eckes out of the race 36th, same for Ryan Ellis 37th, and Parker Retzlaff out in 38th. So 3 drivers out, the other 35 that started out of 38 are on the lead lap. Here's Ryan Ellis, who has exited the infield care center.
Here, how disappointing is it for your day to end like that?
Extremely disappointed. I didn't know how good our car would be today, but it felt just as good as last week. We were kind of biding our time, and really no idea what happened. We went to go to a restart. It kind of turned into a parking lot. Made it because we had Tableau on board, Richmar, and felt like we really.
And thank you, Carla. Closed captioning for this race brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. Let's try this again with Sheldon Creed on the front row, Justin Allgaier. Creed taking advantage of a good pit stop to go P1 on the restart.
If you're Connor Zilich, you doing anything different here?
I'm still going for the lead, man.
All right.
I actually wondered, based on his complaint in the last restart, would you take the up?
All right, hopefully we get right now, but it seems like everything is frozen. So I don't know, so much of it was NASCAR.com or my laptop that is making the mistakes right now. So I can't scroll down the leaderboard. The stream seems to be running fine, so we'll continue our coverage of this race. Justin Allgaier will lead our way into the restart zone. Rather, Sheldon Creed leads into the restart zone inside row 1. Green flag is in the air. More staggered restart this time. Everybody trying to play it safe, it looks like, further behind the front row. Allgaier holding tight on the right side of Creed's race car and entry into turn 1, but can't hold to the outside by the exit of turn 2. Creed's out in front of the field and has the clean air advantage. Couple cars bouncing against the wall off turn 2 down the back straightaway. Trying to settle themselves up in line on the outside. There's 2 or 3 of them that brushed the wall. Kind of a monkey see, monkey do kind of deal. It's tough to tell exactly how many or which cars did make that move. Okay, there we go. Now I can scroll up and down the leaderboard. There we go. We're good. Glad to know I didn't lose the stream. Ross Chastain on the inside of Taylor Gray going for 7th place, as well a battle side by side behind them with Carson Kvapil and Daniel Dye. Dye's had a good performance here tonight in the 10 for Colleague Racing. He's quietly outran the other 2 Colleague Chevys in the Xfinity Series this season. He's highest in points of the 3, ahead of Eckes and Williams, who were both involved in that last incident. Taylor Gray way up the racetrack. He overdrove the entry to turn 1. Carson Kvapil, not a great corner getting through there either, but he does get to the inside of the 54. Jesse Love trapped in line behind both cars, as well as Sammy Smith. Side by side for second off turn 4. Connor Zilich to the inside of his teammate Justin Allgaier for 2nd place. Allgaier still has the Xfinity fastest lap of the day, but Zilich is having a great run down on the bottom of the racetrack and holding on strong to that of Allgaier above him. Door to door into 3 and 4s. They've been nose to nose for about an entire lap now. Allgaier up the hill a little bit too far wide through 3 and 4. Zilich through the bump, great through turns 3 and 4 on his own right. And Connor Zilich is up to 2nd. Sheldon Creed holds on with still 75 laps to go at Nashville. Another battle on screen ongoing between Jeffrey Earnhardt and Sammy Smith, the 26 and the 8 cars. Dean Thompson, rather, in the 26. Sorry, Jeffrey Earnhardt's in the 24, the other Sam Hunt Racing Toyota. Thompson is going for 11th place. Couple of good runs for Dean Thompson in recent weeks. Charlotte, he had a pretty stellar performance last week, and here he is with another top 10 today at Nashville Super Speedway. Side drafts on Sammy Smith. William Sawalich just behind both cars in the 13th spot, who started on the pole at 37 laps, fell behind to 17th. He's working his way back upwards. Here's Christian Eckes following his crash.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like the double zero sped it up a little bit and then slowed it back down and just kind of caused a train reaction. And I thought we were going. I stuck it behind the 25. I couldn't see anything. So, unfortunately, I told ourselves since the marathon It's not 16 inner, well, it's not 15, so it's just inference right now. It's a pretty much I'm hating for all these falling down as a clean race car. And yeah, I guess we'll take these 2 weeks off in front of the group again.
A lot of disappointment for Christian Eckes, Ken. Let's check in with Dee Thompson, our Toyota driver update. Currently running in the 12th position, trying to back up that best career finish last week. He had at Charlotte finishing 5th. And this team told me they clean the slate. They said they haven't been great at Nashville. In fact, Chris Bowen told me they actually leaned too much on Tyler Reddick and last year to figure things out. Reddick didn't exactly know what he needed because he drives the Xfinity car so infrequently. So they went to the drawing board. They came with something new. He's been very good. He did a great job avoiding that last wreck right now, reminding him that it's going to be just a little bit edgy because on the last stop, they went up on the track bar. Thompson in the 12th position here.
All right, Sheldon Creed, 0.3 of a second out ahead of Connor Zilic. Justin Allgaier slipping back a bit. He's now 0.8 of a second off the lead in third. Sam Mayer, 1.7 seconds back in fourth. Fifth place is Eric Almirola. Ross Chastain in 6th. Austin Hill 7th. Daniel Dye in 8th. Carson Kvapil in 9th. And Jesse Love rounds out the top 10. Zilic starting to run down Sheldon Creed for the race lead up at the front of the field. Battle growing tighter and tighter at the front of the pack. Great run off turn 4 compared to the other 2 cars in the top 3. Zilic goes to the outer lane on entry into 1 and 2. Diamond cuts to the center of the corner in the middle. Slides the rear tires just a bit, but staying close behind the 00 for another corner entry into 3. Zilic backs up the center of the corner. Exit of turn 4, not as big of a run for Connor this time compared to the lap before as they cross the start-finish line, but he's there. Sheldon Creed into turns 1 and 2. Trying to hold on. Exit of the corner, it does look like Zilic gains ground through 1 and 2 this time. Gap is about a half a car length on entry into 3 in the battle for the race lead. Zilic maybe on the back bumper of Creed. A slight nudge. It looked like there was contact, and Connor Zilic is through to the race lead off turn 4. Creed trying to block Zilic's teammate of Justin Allgaier for second now. Allgaier to the inside, entering turns 1 and 2. Big wiggle from the 7. Holds door to door with Creed on the exit of the corner. Somehow those two didn't make contact, but it was very close to that being the case. Allgaier will complete the pass through 3 and 4. He's up to second now on corner exit. Creed loses the lead in one corner, loses second place the next. And for the first time tonight, Connor Zilic is out in front as he looks to win his first career oval in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. His lone win this season came at Coda in the only root course race so far for the Xfinity Series schedule at this point in the year. And Connor Zilic trying to break through on an oval. He came close last weekend with another top 5 performance at Charlotte. Looks even quicker here in stage 3 at the Nashville Superspeedway. Likely outside the fuel window to make it to the end of the race, even with that lengthy caution at the beginning of stage 1. And as Zilic is out in front, we'll go through the full field running order again with about 65 laps to go and counting down. Connor Zilic leads. Again, Justin Allgaier in second. Sheldon Creed third. Sam Mayer fourth. Eric Almirola now fifth. Ross Chastain back to 6th. Austin Hill 7th. Daniel Dye 8th. Carson Kvapil 9th. Jesse Love 10th. Taylor Gray in 11th. Sammy Smith 12th. William Sawalich 13th. Jeb Burton 14th. And Brennan Poole 15th. Nick Sanchez in 16th. Brandon Jones 17th. Jeremy Clements 18th. Thomas Annunziata 19th. And Josh Williams 20th. 21st for Ryan Snyder and 26th. Mason Maggio 27th. Kyle Sieg 28th. Mason Massey 29th. And Anthony Alfredo 30th. Logan Bearden, 31st. Nick Lights, 32nd. Chris Wright, 33rd. Blaine Perkins, 34th. And Dean Thompson, a lap down in 35th as he just made an unscheduled pit stop moments ago after running 11th. 3 cars out of the race. Christian Eckes will finish 36th. Ryan Ellis, 37th. And Parker Retzlaff, 38th. The lead between Zilic and Allgaier is about 0.6 of a second. 2.2 seconds back to Sheldon Creed in third. Now Sam Mayer 2.5 seconds off the lead in fourth. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville Super Speedway. Our coverage continues right here on the channel. I'll let you listen into a little bit more of the CW broadcast following the commercial break on the CW. Sheldon Creed losing a lot of time as this run goes on. Sam Mayer, his teammate, looking to make a pass for third on him. Creed, I believe, was 10th at the end of stage 1. Got his way to second at the end of stage 2, while Sam Mayer was top 5 in both stages. Mayer didn't really have anything for Allgaier in this race, but it looks like he might have his way to try to get back to third. Allgaier about a 10th quicker than our leader Zilich that last lap. And we, again, might see pit stops before the end of this race still. Corey Gibson, welcome to the stream. As well as many others, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet on the stream. Our goal was to get to 100 likes. And as I'm refreshing right now, obviously we've had well more than that many people watching. Only 83 likes to show for, so be sure to hit the like button so we can get to the stream goal. Helps push these streams out a ton. Live NASCAR commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Building my repertoire to hopefully get into the booth and calling some real races down the road. I'll take a quick break for the moment, and again, CW Sports will take over for the next little bit.
This is where legends are made. Grand Slam track from Billet tomorrow, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific on the CW. I love watching. Huge track fan. And, you know, a couple of times this year it's followed us on the CW with an NASCAR Xfinity Series. You saw it earlier today, but good stuff, and we look forward to wrapping things up tomorrow for Philadelphia.
You a fast runner?
No, I'm like a freight train with a 4-cylinder. You got way too much gear, and I ain't got enough motor, dude.
I'm going to change the subject. Aerial coverage provided by the Lucas Oil helicopter. I bailed you out on that, Simon.
Did you?
We're digging a hole.
Actually,
You were digging a hole with a backhoe and not a shovel.
I'm just speaking the truth, man.
Maybe Parker was digging a hole.
I got different kind of athlete over here.
Let him on.
Different kind of athlete.
A couple weeks ago, we did the Grand Slam track promo, and Parker tried to tell me he ran like a 4.440. I'm like, I did for a while. For a while.
Well, I was 23. Not now.
Let's get back to this race, right?
Yeah, we got real racing happening
for
here.
all of us. Nobody believes me. You know, Kim referenced what a great job that Dean Thompson is doing and what he did last week. And I just am so impressed with this rookie. Christopher Bell going to come over and drive for Sam Hunt at Mexico City in a couple of weeks' time.
I feel like Sammy Smith has been in the middle of it all or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's put a foot wrong either.
Well,
he's
he's been aggressive.
Spots and had to make some choices, and I think although it's not going to be the best finish, at least right now, it's been a really hard fought effort, that's for sure. And here's Williams Wallace, this guy that is obviously dominating the first part of this race and got put behind when the stages flipped and all that. And I think him recovering, if he's able to recover into the top 10, I think for him in the year that he's had, that's a quality effort. I don't know what you think, Parker.
Really solid.
It's been solid for him to have a shot to get back in the top 10. Pretty much all in their green as well.
Exactly what this team needed. Just run like today, the confidence of winning the pole and leading last, feeling clean air, and then to come back from losing a lot in track position through the flipping the stages and a restart that went kind of awry, forced him up the racetrack. To get back to the top 10, that's exactly what he needed and that team needs as we get in the second half of this regular season to make a push, possibly to get towards those playoffs. Most likely right now, I feel like they need a win. But these kinds of runs build towards that ability to go and get that win.
We need those small victories. That pole is going to be what this team is excited about going into the next couple weeks and gives them the life that they need to go after that winning speed. Because it's a company, honestly, even Roy, I mean, he's been a driver in the couch.
Arcades champion. I mean, he knows what it takes. So we're glad that Austin's here with us tonight. There's Taylor Gray going for position.
Ships it off in there.
11th, Sammy Smith under attack by those rookies from Joe Gibbs Racing.
3 wide here for a bit out of 4.
Wow.
Sammy wisely chooses to go behind the 54. And I liked how you said that about Mercedes Benz. He's kind of been in a brawl all night. And these are the nights, if you can net a top 10 out of a night like tonight, sometimes those are the ones where make sure you said, I really earned my money today. I really, no, so much.
Well,
Caution number 6.
tough season continues for William Sawalich.
They were racing for 11th, 12th, and 13th on track in that situation. 54, 18, and 8, just outside the top 10. And William goes for a slide.
All the nice things. We're just saying, commentator curse.
It's the announcer jinx for sure.
Well, it's tough because I pretty much did the same exact thing in the Cup race here last year. So maybe easy for me to say that that's easy to do, but coming off through here, racing hard for position, no air in the door, goes to the side draft and just runs out of room. That's gonna be a tough one to look back at. Frustrating after slow, long recovery to get to that point. It also sets up these teams for a difficult spot with tires with this many laps left.
Yeah, it's just like he wanted to get up there to side draft, and as you come off that corner, the track kind of falls away from you, as you referenced. It's kind of easy to do because of the shape of it and how that sort of works. And when you want to get up to side draft, you want to do it early, but just got up there too quickly. Yeah, just misjudged it, trying to get up beside him.
It's a difficult spot because you're kind of looking over your right front. It's the furthest thing away from you from the driver's seat to see exactly where you are. And sometimes guys will make incidental contact because of that. But yeah, it's just that's a tough lesson at a big stage that you'll have. And yeah, it should be tough for those guys to recover from that spin.
Blaine Perkins gets the free pass. First car one lap down in 33rd. So we're going to have 33 cars on the lead lap here. Pit road is open. You're in the window. You're going to come, and here they are. Got to execute on pit road. It is huge. They pull on to progressive pit road. Kim?
Top of your screen, that Sheldon Creed in the double zero. Said it fired off good, but then builds tight. In fact, that was the quickest I got tight all night. I need to be a little bit freer. So the crew on the right side will be 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel, slight air pressure adjustment, Dylan.
For Sam Mayer in the 41, their balance has been a little bit up and down. They were tight and they were a little bit free on that last run. Looks like maybe just an air pressure adjustment. Justin Allgaier said, I need more rear security. They'll make an air pressure adjustment and take the 7. And Connor Zillage said, I am money. No complaints out in front of this field for the 88 car. 4 tire review.
Brandon Jones, the first off. Right behind him, those drivers that had been at the front. Connor Zillage, the front runners, hold serve. Creed is second. Allgaier third off the pit lane.
Brandon Jones didn't have a
First for all, but third of that group that had been racing at the front of the field, +2 for Austin Hill when you look at the race off progressive pit road. We'll reset things when we come back. 6th caution of the night comes out with William Sawalich.
So Brandon Jones, who I believe was on his final set of tires already, went fuel only, which is why he won the race out of the pits. So he's out in front now. Connor Zillage won the race off pit road. Of those that took 4 tires, he'll restart second. Then Sheldon Creed. Justin Allgaier loses 2 positions on pit road again, falls back to 4th. A net loss of 4 spots total, at least 1 each stop for that 7 team of Justin Allgaier tonight. Definitely not doing him any favors and trying to get the race win. It took him a while to get by Sheldon Creed on the last restart after he had gotten passed by Zillage. Same for Creed, and now Creed gets the spot back again. Sheldon was good on the short run, though we still have around 50 laps to go, so I don't think that his car is going to hold to the end of the race, even if he were to get back to the lead again. I do think the 88 and the 7 are the 2 to beat at this point to try to go for the race win. So getting closer to the finish here. Tracy Fenlock, welcome into the stream. Shout out to anybody else watching who I haven't given a shout out in the chat poll. Or not the chat poll, the chat in general. B. Dobson, welcome to the stream. He's pulling for Zillage also. Will this be the final restart? We've had overtime for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in more than half of the races this year. 7 out of 13 have gone into overtime. Well, we have an 8th here today at Nashville. The truck race yesterday ended on a green flag run of more than 50 laps. Today, we will restart with less than 50 to go. They are good on fuel to make it to the end following this pit stop. They would have had to pit one more time at the start of the final stage, but they didn't get the caution long enough yet. They had a caution as they were getting to the green, but now after running about 20-25 green flag laps, they'll catch the yellow, and this is going to make up for the finish. Live commentary continues. We'll take another break while we're under caution again and awaiting the next restart. CW Sports on a full screen commercial break of their own. Once more, you're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Nashville Super Speedway. It's like we've got 48 laps to go right now under the caution. This is our 6th yellow of the day and our 3rd caution of stage 2. 7 lead changes total. We'll have around 40 laps under caution ran total in the race out of what has currently been 140 laps complete out of 188. Next race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series will be in Mexico City, Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live on the channel for that one. And as usual, the CW Sports will be live for the video quality. Ross Chastain going to be in the booth for that event. It'll be Father's Day weekend that Saturday. We'll be live on the channel. Xfinity Series will be off next week while the Truck and Cup Series head to Michigan. Anyone ever used Dude Wipes here? This is a serious question. I have not. I have not used it. I've seen and have heard of the product, especially on the YouTube realms for a while now, but I have not bought the product up to this point. Green flag back in the air. Long story short, we're back to racing. 3 wide to the inside. Headed into the first turn goes Justin Allgaier as he splits the driver on old tires, Brandon Jones, who is in the middle of 3 wide. And Allgaier's going to come out with the lead off turn 2 as he gets ahead of Zilich as well, who was outside of row 1 initially on the restart. Door-to-door for 3rd down the back straightaway between Eric Almirola and the 19 on the bottom and the top side of Sheldon Creed in the 00. So Zilich got by Justin Allgaier when Allgaier was in dirty air during the last run in 2nd place. Now can he get by him with Allgaier having the clean air? 47 laps to go. It's the rookie versus the veteran. Almirola, another veteran, clear for 3rd. Mayer to the inside of Creed. Almirola slips way up the racetrack off turn 2. Slide job gone wrong, and they're 3 wide for 3rd down the back straightaway. Creed sandwiched in the middle between Mayer on the bottom and Almirola up high. Creed drives it off way deep into 3 and 4. Gets it to stick. He comes out through with 3rd place despite being in the middle groove on entry into the corner. And Mayer, who's on the bottom, is going to fall to 5th. Austin Hill now just in line behind him, looking to make the pass for position. Daniel Dye, Ross Chastain also battling for a spot. Chastain on the outside. Dye clear from down low. And the good run for Daniel Dye continues as he's up to 7th. Top 2 are getting away. They're already a second and a half ahead of 3rd place on back. Almirola trying to get to the back bumper of Sheldon Creed. Like there was a little contact between Almirola and Creed off turn 4 that last time by as well, which allowed for Mayer to get to 3 wide off turn 2 in the very next corner. Doesn't look like there's any sort of a fender rub on the tires of either the 19 or the 00, so that's good. They drive on, and they're actually kind of pulling away from Sam Mayer a bit, since singling out amongst one another and not running side by side anymore. Connor Zilich is doing a great job. He's staying very close to the 7. He's not letting him get away, and the gap has been within 2 car lengths, nose to tail between those 2 cars pretty much every lap since the restart. Great job on the restart by Justin Allgaier, going from the inside of row 1 to come out with the lead, despite the fact that he wasn't necessarily side by side with Zilich. Veteran presence maybe coming into play there for the 7 of Allgaier when getting through the shifts on that restart. It does seem like off turn 4, getting through the bumps, Zilich was a little better than Allgaier. So it's not really changing his line. Both cars are staying very tied down to the yellow line on the inside of the track through 1 and 2, and basically the same thing through 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is the difference maker corner with the bump on the bottom of the track from where the track has been grounded because of a bump that was much more violent going through there last season. There's another dip off turn 4 that isn't quite as bad, but there are 2 of them in that corner, which could create maybe a slight bit more off throttle time. Could cause the driver to lose rear stability. Front tires could chatter getting through there and pushing wide off the exit of the corner as well. Several passes have been made. That's actually where Zilic had made a pass on Sheldon Creed for position and took the lead away from him on the last green flag run. Zilic going to come off the bottom lane through 3 and 4. He runs just above the grounded bump in the center of the corner. It looks like he maybe lost a half a car length at the most to Allgaier. We'll go right back to running the bottom through turns 1 and 2 yet again. Doesn't want to lose too much more ground. Sam Mayer around the outside of Eric Almirola through turns 1 and 2. Well, if he can make that happen, that's probably the easiest way to make a pass. Several drivers have made moves on the outside today. I will say with the 7 and the 88 being that much quicker than pretty much every other car in the field, I feel like it'd be tough to pass them on the outside specifically. And because they're so equal to one another on speed, it'd be probably tough to pass one another on the outside as well. There is 24 degrees of banking here at Nashville, but not as much as most of the other intermediates that are right around 30 degrees in the upper 20s on the 1.5 mile track side of things. Not as progressively banked from bottom to top as well. Oh boy. Big deal of contact a couple laps ago, showing a replay of the CW broadcast. Chastain trying to go to the apron, 3 wide underneath of Austin Hill and Daniel Dye on the front stretch. Chastain has gotten by both of those cars since then and is up to 6th again. Pretty much been running about 5th to 6th most of the race for Chastain. He was my pick to win coming in. Definitely doesn't seem to have near the race car that the 88 and the 7 have. These two are still the quickest cars on the racetrack on a lap-by-lap basis. Still closing a bit in the draft on the front stretch that last time by. We still have 37.5 laps to go. There's a long time for Zilic to make this pass. The question is as long as it is going to take for him to get closer and closer to the back bumper or alongside Justin Allgaier, is he going to be able to stay this close for the entirety of a long green flag run to the checker, or is Allgaier going to start to put some separation between himself and the second place car? Zilic has done a great job holding on the dirty air to this point. He's been trying to change his lineup just a little bit more. Jumping a half a lane wider, maybe just slightly a full lane wider on either end of the racetrack. And he's not gaining ground on the 7. It's probably going to take a mistake for the 88 to get a run and try to capitalize on making a pass on Allgaier that way. Plenty of laps for Allgaier to make a mistake. We've seen him do that in the past, but he is a veteran of the Xfinity Series, and he is looking for redemption following another win that slipped away by the wayside a week ago at Charlotte. JRM running 1-2. You'd like to think that between the two of these guys, one of them has to get to victory lane. And as Creed remains in the 3rd spot, his lap times are similar to the top 2, but he's not quite as quick. But if these top 2 cars do get side by side and do get racing with one another hard enough, that could be the opportunity for Sheldon Creed to try to capitalize and close in a bit and put himself in the picture then for a chance to win on a long green flag run. Creed has done a great job pulling away from Mayer and Almirola behind him. He's more than 2 seconds ahead of both cars. Really in a league of his own with where everybody else is.
And already saw flames coming out of the exhaust. So he's out of throttle. And for a long period of time, down into 3, into the center. That's not what you want to see on the 88. You mentioned it, running behind the 7 so closely. Yes, that means you have a competitive race car, maybe even have a better race car, but you're doing more damage to those tires than Justin Allgaier is doing in that clean air ahead of you.
I'm going to go back to last week. And Allgaier feels like he's going to win at Charlotte. You get the caution, and some come in, and Jim Pullman calls Allgaier in, and Allgaier says, I decided to stay out. Calls an audible. ultimately they end up not winning the race, finishes fourth. And Jim Pullman said, you know what, we win as a team, we lose as a team. He said it on the radio, but I talked to him here yesterday and he reiterated it. And with some teams, he would say that's just team speak, coach speak. With them, it's not. There is so much trust in that organization between those two. It's why they won a championship last season. And when you look at what Junior Motorsports has done, 5 wins, 4 drivers, really been good as an organization here tonight. And Corey Day had the spin first time here, and the 17 is starting to re-enter the picture late running in the top 15.
Yeah, I would assume that they were down a set of tires, which is why we haven't seen him again. But I tell you what, a pretty good run up through the field here, racing against these full-time guys, and with a shot at the top 10 right in front of us.
A great comeback. Place it's really hard to pass. Seeing that for the lead right now, how difficult it is for Tyler Zills to try and make a pass. It's just an all guy. We've seen it throughout the night. But for Corey Day to come back from that spin, I think they most likely put on scuffs at some point there. So they already equal tires right now compared to park around them. Still, it's a really competitive run, and it's all part of the learning process.
Well, the expectations have changed, no doubt, with Day behind the wheel versus all the championship level drivers we see from the Cup side running it for Hendrick Motorsports. But I'm going to tell you, he's got a lot of seat time coming up. They're not too far off. I mean, he's finding his way into the top 5, maybe even in position to win. Adam Wall, great leadership on the pit box, and Greg Ives was actually down working with that group yesterday. It speaks to just how important this operation is for HMS.
The last couple laps, Connor Zilch has just been a little bit faster than Justin Allgaier here. So we saw that slide. Let those rear tires cool down again. Make some more runs at it. Just a little bit of a slide right there as well. We don't want to see too many of those with 30 to go right now. But he was starting to take off some faster laps than Justin.
That's the thing you got to keep reminding yourself is, and that's the information I want as a driver. How many laps do I have left to make these tires live? Because you can't sit here and think that there's going to be another caution. There's probably a high likelihood. I don't know what the statistics are, but you might have that, and you'll deal with that when you get there. But otherwise, we're a quarter of the way and a third of the way into this run if it does go green. And those are things you have to understand as a driver. Here's some 88 radio.
Gallagher?
I think that's great information with the lap traffic. I think that's going to be a huge part. If these guys are that evenly matched, they're talking the driver up, hey, he's starting to struggle. You're better than him. That's the information you want to hear as a driver, right? But that lap traffic is going to start to throw some things at Justin where he's going to have to really lean on his veteran experience. And as you see right ahead there, that's the lap traffic. They're on the same straightaway. So Justin's got a short amount of time to figure out how he's going to manage this. What lanes is he going to use? They've been wrapping the bottom at the same time. What's my car going to drive like once I move up into the higher lanes? And Connor's got the advantage to be able to react to the situation.
And some of that traffic I've been looking ahead is running the bottom, some is running the top. There's not going to be an easy decision for Justin Allgaier. The worst thing that can happen is they get side by side. He doesn't want to see that at all. But yeah, this is definitely going to be the opportunity for Connor Zilch if you can find a way to use one of those lap cars as a pick, or if Justin Allgaier
22 laps. The longest of the evening was starting the race when we got 36 under green. But late in the race, the runs are a little bit different. And lap traffic going to be, as you guys talked about, a much bigger factor than what it was earlier in the race, which it was basically non-existent. So a whole lot about to happen that we haven't experienced so far tonight.
And one thing, Austin, I always felt like when you're the lead car right now, you got to be mentally noting exactly where these cars are running. As you catch them, be planning a lap or two ahead. Mentally noting, okay, that car's running the bottom lap after lap, corner. I need to know if I have to go higher, where I want to time that pass. You don't want to get caught out where you find that you don't remember exactly where that car is running as you catch it.
And it's when you're relying on your spotter. I mean, Eddie Hans up there trying to make deals with these guys, just getting them the heck out of the way, right? It's the race on the line as you see the 5 car goes to the bottom. Justin, first time in a long time, he's had to run up and understand what the car's like. But that's the first obstacle overcome for Justin. And each time it's a small win after that. As he sees him too wide in his mirror, he knows he's got a little bit of breathing room. He'll settle for that.
Silich had a tough time trying to get by the lapper of Chris Wright. Had to go to the apron through the tri-oval to try to make the pass on him. The car was bobbing around as he came from the transitional banking of 9 degrees to the flatness of that apron in the middle of the tri-oval. And the gap had gone from about 2 to 3 car lengths down to about 4 to 5 car lengths. So Allgaier gets through the first lap car better than Connor Zilisch. How will the next several go as we still have 23 laps to go in this race to settle the score between the two Junior Motorsport teammates, the driver nearing 40 years old, Justin Allgaier, and the 18-year-old Connor Zilisch. Veteran of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, top 10 on the all-time win list in the Xfinity Series against a guy who's only got 2 career wins, both on road courses, has never won on an oval. But with this being his rookie season full-time, he's seen a lot of these oval tracks for the first time, including here today at Nashville. He's done a great job. He had a great run in the early going, was top 5 for a lot of that Rockingham race, which is probably the most similarly styled racetrack to this. But an even better performance here today for Connor Zilisch, and kind of picking up where he left off, where he was top 5 for most of the day at Charlotte a week ago following an injury that he had sustained the race before that he had participated in, which was Talladega the month before. Luckily for the Xfinity Series, they had a few off weeks between Texas and Charlotte. He did miss the Texas race. Kyle Larson was able to go to victory lane in that 88. So for the owner standings, they do have 2 wins. And despite missing 1 race on the season, Connor Zilisch does come into this race 6th in points still. And he has outscored Brandon Jones by a lot on the stages already today, so he's likely to move into the top 5 in points if he could just make it to the finish of the race. William Sawalj getting pushed back into the garage. He was involved in the last caution, brought out a spin, or had a spin, which brought out the yellow. Sawalj will be the 4th driver to DNF from the race today, 35th after leading 37 laps and starting on the pole. Fell as far back as 17th in running order. He got back up to 11th right before the spin. He was battling with a couple other cars for 9th and 10th at the time. On screen now, Jesse Love battling for 9th with that of Taylor Gray. As good as Love was at Rockingham, I know he failed post-race inspection there, but I was still expecting him to have a solid run today. I thought this was going to be a track where he maybe could have also competed for a win or a very, very strong performance on top of it. Haven't really seen that today. It's really been a grinded out kind of day for Jesse. 9th place where he's running now is about as good as he's been throughout the night. And both the Burton cousins, Harrison and Jeb Burton, battling for position, both on the playoff bubble. On the inside of it, Jeb Burton 9th in points, Harrison Burton 12th. And they're battling for 14th. I don't think either one of them had stage points so far tonight, so this race finishing result is going to be very crucial for them. 1 point per position all the way through the running order. 14th, is where they are battling once again. Brandon Jones, who stayed out of the pits on that restart, didn't have the extra set of tires that the rest of the teams had following a spin he had on the restart to begin stage 3. He was caught up in that incident. They put an extra set of tires on it, and as a result of which he has now fallen back to 16th place. He's running in line behind the Burtons. Harrison will make the pass through 3 and 4, bottom of the track, and clear wide on Jeb. It'll be interesting if it comes down to those two battling for the final playoff spot at the end of the regular season. Could get intense within the family. Two lap cars nearly side by side right in front of our leader, Justin Allgaier. 16 laps to go as he enters turn 1. He drives to the inside of Kyle Seagan, the 28 first. The other lap car is up on his outside now as he exits turn 2. Maybe just in front of him a bit. It's right in front of him. Showing the back bumper cam right now, so it's hard to tell exactly where that other lapper is on track. Allgaier still hasn't made the pass, though. Staying to the bottom of the racetrack. I wouldn't say that Connor Zilisch has made a big mistake in trying to keep up and keep closer with Allgaier. He hasn't really been within 2 car lengths behind the leader in about 15 laps or so now. I do think Allgaier is getting through the lap traffic just a little bit better than Zilisch. Not that Zilisch is getting into terrible spots, but he has lost a little bit of time. When the lead's about 2 to 3 car lengths and it shifts back to about 6, 7 car lengths, that could be a big difference, especially on a track where we don't see a lot of passing. Last night, winning the race off pit road in the final stage for Raja Karuth won him the race. Taking the lead 3 wide to the bottom on the restart could be the difference maker for Justin Allgaier winning tonight's Xfinity Series race. Sam Mayer, by the way, just made a pass on Sheldon Creed a couple laps ago for third. Mayer's 2.3 seconds off the race lead. That last lap, though, he was the quickest car on the racetrack, 32.095 for Sam Mayer. Now he just dropped to 32.061. He was about a tenth or two quicker a lap the last 2 laps than both Allgaier and Zilich. So now he's 2.2 seconds back, and we'll look to see if Sam Mayer can continue to close. Allgaier stuck behind a lap car of Matt DiBenedetto right now, 12 laps to go. The gap to Connor Zilich is now about 9/10 of a second between those top 2 in the running order. Allgaier puts DiBenedetto a lap down off turn 2, and now he's got the 14 car in front of him next. And it does look like the 14 will run the bottom in 3 and 4. It's Logan Bearden in the 14, by the way. Allgaier gets by him, as well as Matt DiBenedetto. Matty D holds on to the free pass position. Battle for position for 5th as well on screen. Ross Chastain has caught Eric Almirola. Chastain on the bottom of the racetrack looking to complete the pass through 1 and 2. He got underneath him initially through 3 and 4, and now in the very next corner will slide up clear off turn 2. Chastain's more than 3 seconds off of Sheldon Creed for 4th, so I don't know that he's going to catch him in these final 10 laps of the race. Looking to really hold on for position ahead of Almirola, get away from him, hope for a caution, and a restart to try to get a few more spots better and maybe have a shot to win. More battling on screen going on between Nick Sanchez and Taylor Gray, a couple of rookies in the Xfinity Series. Neither one of them having a great run today. They're battling for 16th on track. Both outside the playoff cut line coming into the race as well. Sanchez, another one of those drivers who had a great run at Rockingham, was top 3 most of that race. Not a great run, though, here today on a similarly styled racetrack. So Mayer was a tenth or 2 quicker lap than our race leader, Justin Allgaier, for a few laps. That last time by, Justin Allgaier had the quickest lap time again. So the lead's still about 2.2 to 2.3 seconds on the 3rd place car of Mayer. And Zilich is about 1 second off the lead still. Just slowly losing ground to the 7 car.
Late to go. Saw Eric getting the left rear of Sheldon Creed earlier. He got about as close as you could right there at Ross Chastain without touching. He wants a spot back.
I thought the battle was over, but Eric's not giving up, man. It's still using that air pack. And he's driving that deep into the corner, trying to get that 9 car out of the racetrack, give him a shot. Now he's going for a different lane here, trying to see if he can get some momentum on the outside. Serves as the center, but not quite able to get to the power. Oh, Ross has to back out. That's an opportunity here.
In the midst of our longest green flag run of the night. Well, the 40 laps now on this run. 7 to go in the race. The advantage for Justin Allgaier just over a second in front of teammate Connor Zilich. Those 2 veterans fight for 5th in the running order.
And Ross is searching again. He got a huge amount of momentum down the backstretch off of running the high side there. He's trying to get in 3 and 4. We didn't see this work with Jesse Love earlier. Does Eric get back beside him? No, it does work. He's been searching.
And he's been the one pushing that grip all night. So if there's anyone that I have confidence in that knows where that grip is, it's got to be Ross. And you can see, we saw Jesse up there probably 10 laps ago, and that's rubbered in now.
Oh yeah,
there's more guys throughout the field trying to use that as another teammate battle throughout the field. You know, see Jesse heating up his teammate in Toyota.
And they could not have gotten to this position in more different ways. If Austin Hill starts on the front row and sort of slipped back throughout the race, Jesse Love started back at 15th, has worked his way forward continually. There they meet, fighting for 7th late in this race.
Every position being a point, And man, look at the 27 of Jeff Burton. Look at the 48 of Nick Sanchez. That's big. 39 is Ryan Sieg. He drops a lap down. Going to be 4 laps to go.
Justin Allgaier.
4 laps left. 22 cars still remain on the lead lap. And again, it is worth mentioning, because we are late in the race, that we have had 7 of 13 completed races for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2025 go into overtime. Justin Allgaier hoping we don't have an 8th race to do that here today. He had problems trying to get by the lapper of Ryan Sieg just a couple laps ago. About made contact with him up off turn 2. 2 laps to go this time by at the line, though, for Allgaier as he circuits into turns 3 and 4. His lead is 1 second over Connor Zilic in second. And Sam Mayer, who was closing in for a brief moment, has slipped back to about 3 seconds off the lead now. So it's basically a race just to get to the white flag if you're Justin Allgaier. He's got 1.33 miles left to do so. Slow car on the bottom of the racetrack. Taylor Gray just went a lap down in the 54. He's got a problem. We'll see if he gets back to pit road. I'd assume it's a tire going down. Some sort of problems for Taylor Gray. There's some smoke coming out of either the back of the car or the right side of the car as he continues to try to truck on. White flag in the air, though. 1 lap to go for Justin Allgaier. Gray's going to try to run it out. All tires seem to be up on the 54, so I believe it might be an engine that's dropping. Justin Allgaier working his way down the back straightaway. And as he enters turns 3 and 4 for the final time, it'll be the 3rd win of 2025 for Justin Allgaier. Redemption after winning stages 1 and 2 last week at Charlotte, was unable to get the win. This week, he leads the most laps, wins both stages, gets the Xfinity Fastest Lap Award, and scores a max points day and a victory at Nashville Superspeedway. Congratulations to Justin Allgaier. Margin of victory 1.2 seconds. He leads 101 out of 188 laps of our scheduled distance race. No OT this weekend. His fastest lap was a 30.79 towards the beginning of the race. So for Justin Allgaier, he is going to get 61 points again, max points day. He already came in with a 73-point lead over Austin Hill for the series championship, so that's only going to grow more. He's going to be up by about 100 points here before long. He's got the same amount of wins as Hill, too. It's just how crazy consistent the 7 team has been this year. 10 top 5s on the season through 14 races now after this one here today. Connor Zilic ends up with a 2nd place finish. Sam Mayer in 3rd, Sheldon Creed 4th, and Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5 in fifth. So 3 JRM Chevys in the top 5, including a 1-2 finish. Highest finishing Toyota was Eric Almirola in 6th, then Austin Hill 7th, Jesse Love 8th, Daniel Dye 9th, and Carson Kvapil rounding out the top 10. Sammy Smith in 11th, Corey Day with a great comeback after a spin finishing 12th, Harrison Burton 13th, Brandon Jones 14th, and Nick Sanchez in 15th. 16th place finish for Jeff Burton, Brennan Poole 17th, Josh Williams 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, and Jeffrey Earnhardt in 20th. 21st for Thomas Annunziata, Ryan Sieg 22nd, 23rd Myatt Snyder, Logan Beard in 24th, and Mason Massey 25th. Taylor Gray 26th after it looked like he was dropping an engine coming to the checkered flag. He finished a lap down. Kyle Sieg 27th, Nick Lights 28th, Mason Maggio 29th, and Anthony Alfredo in 30th. Blaine Perkins 31st, Chris Wright 32nd, Matt DiBenedetto 33rd, Dean Thompson 34th, and 4 cars DNF tonight 35th through 38th, with William Sawalch finishing 35th, Christian Eckes 36th, Ryan Ellis 37th, and Parker Rutzlaff 38th. Congratulations on the race win for Justin Allgaier. And on the front stretch for his interview following his race win is Allgaier himself.
Of concrete, Justin Allgaier congratulating his team on a well-deserved win. Man, you were the dominant car, led over 100 laps, swept the stages, but you're also one of the best, if not the best, at wrapping the bottom. How much of this was car and how much of this win was driver?
Oh, these guys right here. They deserve this one more than anything. I screwed them over last week by making a pit call that had equally as good of a car. But this Hellman's Chevrolet was just absolutely on rails. Ashton, the kids are here. There's no cooler feeling than to win at a place like this, Nashville. The fans here are incredible. This race is special to me, and I said before the race that I really wanted to get a second guitar for both kids to have a guitar. So they can fight over both of them or one of them, whatever. But really proud of everybody at Junior Motorsports, everybody that Hendrick did the shop, Chevrolet, all of our partners, Brand Fresh Culture, Jarrett, Carolina Carports, just Helmets Mayonnaise obviously has been a big supporter of ours. And so
Yeah.
we'll buy some mayonnaise. It just
Let's go Hellman.
super incredible Chevrolets today, and we were going to battle it out. And I think that last restart was going to be the most important piece, and it worked. And we're staying in the victory lane. It's pretty special.
You mentioned that restart. Let's walk through it. Tell me how you got the lead.
I didn't know what to do, and Jim Pullman standing right over there was the guy. He's always the one that pushes me to be my best. Eddie the Holland spotter, same, just pushing me to be my best. And, on that restart, I knew that the 20 had old tires. And I wasn't sure how good it was going to launch, but I knew at the start finish line we had to be able to get to his end. A lot of fun with Connor there. And I knew whoever of the two of us got out front was going to be the difference maker. And ultimately it was us. So it was a great day.
Congratulations, enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Willow and Harper both have guitars now. Justin Allgaier, a winner at Nashville for the second time.
They're playing a happy tune, no doubt, and he referenced Chevrolet for the first time in series history.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up tonight's NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage live on the channel as Justin Allgaier wins the Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville Super Speedway. One last stream to go out of 4 on this NASCAR race weekend coming from Nashville. And tomorrow we will have our NASCAR Cup Series race coverage at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, beginning with the pre-race. So again, 6:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow evening we'll go live. We'll have NASCAR trivia. I'll highlight who I think will run well, not run well before the race with some in-depth stats, gearing you up for not only that, but as well as the Fantasy League and those predictions going into tomorrow. We'll highlight the Fantasy League. We'll highlight the season in review through the first half of the regular season and then the starting lineup in the race itself. We'll have a post-race that will go on for about 15 to 20 minutes after the race is over tomorrow night as well. As far as tonight goes, appreciate everybody watching. If I did shout you out for tuning in and typing in the chat throughout the course of the stream, I will shout you out at a later date if I see you again. Brian Harrison, 12C, I see you. In the late going, Corey Gibson. Thanks for watching, everybody. Jeff Scott, many others. Thanks for the well wishes on the great coverage side of things. And we will be live for the Cup race again tomorrow, which will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That race will be obviously on Amazon Prime Video yet again. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal is 100. We're at 99 right now, so be sure to hit that like button so we can try to get to that goal of... There we go. Now we're at 100. I just refreshed the page. Thank you for hitting the like button. If you haven't done so yet, definitely be sure to do so. Again, subscribe. We'll be back at it again for tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.